Traveling the Vortex.
You and I in a little toy shop, buy a bag of balloons with the money we've got, set them free at the break of dawn, till one by one they were gone. Back at base, box in the software, flash the message, something's out there, floating in the summer sky, 99 red balloons go by.
We've joined the Doctor as he travels the Vortex and land at episode number 99. And we're self-righteous loudmouths, and our show eats weasel dung. I'm Keith.
Speak for yourself. I'm Sean.
I'm Glenn. I wish I could get the
I'm
reference.
blanking. I don't know what
That's
it is.
from Fearmonger.
Was it?
Yeah, in the very beginning when Ace calls into the radio show.
Okay.
I guess that didn't go over as well as I hoped.
No, hopefully our listeners got it. Because
I
the
hope
host
so.
didn't.
How are
I
you
still
guys?
don't remember it very well.
I don't remember that.
It was early on.
You'd think I'd remember
It's like in
that.
the first 5 minutes.
Well, that was so long ago I listened to that Monday. So that's
All bets are off.
Yeah.
Monday.
full week.
I had the advantage. I started 2 days later.
How's everybody?
Pretty good.
Very good.
How was your guys' weeks?
Sean, did you have a good week?
I did, until I saw the article from the Kansas City Star. Did you see this in the news?
obituary?
The obituary?
Was there an obituary for Hostess?
No.
Oh, that would be awesome.
No, but there were many of those on Facebook.
We're going to talk about that, too.
And no, apparently a real obituary, I would almost said real life obituary, and that probably wouldn't apply anymore. A gentleman, I wish I had his name now, I should probably look it up. A gentleman from Kansas City passed, and his obituary in the Kansas City Star read,
yeah, I did see that.
passed due to complications with MS and the dismal performance of the Kansas City Chiefs. And I have to admit, I think it's really funny.
Well, they said he had a sense of, they said he had the guy had their dad had a sense of humor, and so they extended that into death as well. So
Sarah and I were joking about that for when I die. It should be that Firefly never came back on the air and that the 11th Doctor regenerated. I think it'd be
that would be very fitting for you. Have to work something in with apes, but
yeah, but they're doing justice by it, so far.
Yeah, that's true. No, I really didn't. I did a lot of homework again. We had documenters this week,
just having pictures.
Which was nice.
Every once in a while, I like to prove that.
And
I like to prove that we actually do something here.
I think there's audio proof of that every week.
I hadn't thought of that.
Do you think pictures of us sitting around a table is proof that we do something?
Should show how ganky our studio set up here is.
Hey, this is
Actually a lot more professional now than we did when we started this thing.
Well, at least we're out in my bedroom.
Yeah.
we don't talk about the old days.
Eventually, we may actually get a professional studio. If I ever buy a house, I'd start this assembling a room where we could have permanent mic setups and everything.
Really?
If I ever bought a house.
Sweet. Well, get on that.
Okay, you want to give me a loan?
Trust me, you're young and have no kids. You can get a first home buyer's loan pretty easy. Do it now while the mortgage rates are low too.
Yeah, the market sucks right now. You should totally buy a house.
Actually, we're
now,
thinking
do it
of
now, do it
looking
now.
at that after this lease is up. So.
If I if I didn't have a roommate but was independently wealthy, I'd set up the second bedroom. I'd totally do that.
Oh, that
as a
would make
recording
sense, too.
studio. Didn't think of that. You guys would have to pay rent though.
More people would have to buy from the Amazon store.
Yeah, we'd have to really tighten up on that no refund policy.
So somebody died this week.
Yeah, no, I didn't know him. I just thought it was funny.
Oh.
What else do you do?
Well, if anybody started this podcast late, somebody died this week. Yeah, I didn't know, but I thought it was funny.
Random death amuses me. What can I say?
It's a good thing we're not a radio program where you can tune in late.
Midway through.
We should be.
Okay.
We'd get calls.
That's true. We could do live call-in. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, I just want to say, long-time listener, first-time caller, you guys are great. I really like everything you say. That Collins kid, something's wrong with him, though. Yeah, like I said, I did a lot of homework. We had our documentary showcase this week, which went over...
Documatters?
Documatters, yes.
Oh, because documentary matters.
Because documentaries matter.
I like the name.
Documatters. But we did that for Tribods this week, which was also in conjunction with class. And so it was a requirement for me to be there as the Tribods president. It was a requirement for me to be there as a class member and student of documentary. Yeah.
I would say more importantly as a student.
Either way. So the one good thing, though, I can honestly say this, is I think because... and then I wound up emceeing the whole thing. So I had to stand up on stage in a shirt and a tie and a sport coat.
Oh, my.
Was not happy.
I don't think I've ever seen you in a sport coat.
I own one.
I've seen pictures.
Never seen you in one. You didn't even come to my wedding in a sport coat.
I didn't own one at the time of your wedding.
Oh.
That was a more recent purchase. You reach a certain point in your life when you kind of look through the closet and you go, I should probably buy a sport coat. As much as I don't agree with it, the world does not revolve around T-shirts and hockey jerseys. You kind of have to get to that point eventually where you put on a button-up. So, yeah, I also had to MC, and that... I think, honestly, will probably result in my group's project being graded a little bit slightly easier than maybe what everybody else's is.
I would hope so.
Because I had to pull all these extra duties. So, but yeah, we had a pretty good turnout. Of course, everybody was there because other classes were offering extra credit. Didn't have anything to do with, I think I'll go watch I think I'll go watch some documentaries. But, hey.
Yeah, you got an audience. That's the
I had an audience. And we paid for it. That's another long story. I won't tell that one. I'm still bitter over that one.
Well, you also went and saw a movie.
I did go see a movie.
On Monday.
We saw, because we'd
Twilight.
seen... No.
No, that would have been
You didn't
Thursday.
go see Twilight
No,
Breaking
I
Dawn
did not go
Part
see
2?
I read a review
I saw your tweet.
They started with the first
You
one.
almost sit down in the living room.
I did.
Sit down.
I had my...
This is that. Sorry,
I came home from French tutoring, and I had my dinner, and I walked into the living room, and Mel's
You tutored French?
No, I was tutored.
Oh.
He
in
gets
French.
tutored.
I get tutored because I'm really bad at it. And...
Say, I'm very bad at it in French.
Je déteste français.
I think that's I hate French, but okay.
Yeah. And so I had my dinner, and Mel's all like, hey, come sit on the couch. I'm like, okay. And I walked in the room, and I just happened to look at the TV and realized what it was, and I did an about face and went back out. And she's like, what? It's like, I have few enough brain cells as it is. I don't need to kill any more of them with that. Thank you. So, no, we didn't go see that. We did go see Skyfall. And I'm very disappointed in you that you have not gone yet.
Oh, yeah,
Because we could bore teeth for like an hour. Geeking out over Skyfall.
Well, that's probably a good thing that I didn't go see it.
Maybe you should wait until I see it, and then you can see it,
Maybe
and then we can all
you and I
discuss
go
it.
together next week.
Well, Sarah wants to go too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you, me, Holly,
Yeah,
Sarah.
there we go. We'll double date.
All right. Leave me out of it.
You've already seen it.
You can go again.
Oh, okay.
You want to come again?
Yeah. Somebody buy my way?
No. That's why one of the reasons we didn't go this weekend.
That's probably the reason I didn't go this weekend.
Right, well, because we saw Wreck-It Ralph Sunday, we probably shouldn't have gone back Monday to see this. But it was really, really good. It's phenomenal. I liked everything about it, except for like one thing, but it's kind of a minor one thing, so it's really almost more of a nitpicky one thing. Other than that, the performances were outstanding. I'm still not totally sold on Daniel Craig. He's better. He's a lot better in this one. He's even funny, which kind of surprised me. Yeah, I know, right? But
I love Daniel Craig. I think he's fantastic.
I'm not sold on him.
Yeah.
But I really liked him in this one. And, of course, Judi Dench was phenomenal. Javier Bardem was phenomenal. Ralph Fiennes was phenomenal. Everybody was really good. And the plot was fantastic. And it was shot amazing. Sam Mendes really knocked it out of the park. In particular, a fight sequence that happens in front of an electronic billboard.
You liked it even though Paul Haggis wrote it?
He did not. Which, Mr. Smarty Pants, thanks for bringing that up. You will, I may have embarrassed myself a little bit at the theater when the opening credit sequence is going, and of course it's the Bond, and images and cool things are going on, and the writing team comes up, and it's the same writing team from Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace without Paul Haggis.
Minus Paul Haggis, you're right.
And I may have stood up and cheered and did a touchdown dance in the theater, maybe. But it's interesting because all the reviews are that way. All the reviews have said the same thing. Oh, Skyfall's fantastic. It's great. It's this, it's that. Mm-hmm. Oh, look what happens. everybody hates Quantum of Solace. You get rid of Paul Haggis, and everybody loves the new one. Maybe there's a correlation there. I don't know. Heck. I don't like Paul Haggis. But no, it was...
you didn't make that clear enough last time.
I didn't. Let me make this clear. Je déteste Paul Haggis. But it was well directed. It was very well put together.
It'd be a well-deserved D+ in that class, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. We have to have a conversational final. That's pretty much what I'm going to fall back on.
Je déteste vous.
No, she's okay. I just don't like the class. But it's required by the university.
Wait, French is required or language?
A language is required. Yeah. Anyway, no, it's really, really, really well done. It's a good movie, and it's got all those, done up right. 50th anniversary. We're celebrating all of it, kind of stuff, while still continuing on with some things and some new directions, which I was excited about, because this one, more than any of the Daniel Craig's thus far, felt more like a Bond film than the others. There were a lot of things that they did right. Still no gadgets. I mean, he gets the gun and a gun and a radio, as he jokes, but that's about it from Q Branch. But
well, at least we got Q back.
We did get Q back, and I liked Q, even though they missed a joke. I am going to spoil this for you, because they sit down and he's introducing. You've seen the clip. He sit down and he introduces him. He says, "Well, I'm your new Q," and Bond replies, "You must be joking." And I'm like, and Q doesn't reply with, "I never joke about my work, 007. I was like, what are you? You missed. That's the. Okay, I don't care. I'm still in a good mood. So
that's too bad.
But they missed that joke, and I mean, admittedly, they're still in that getting to know you stage, and he hasn't even handed him any of the work yet. So it's maybe still too early for that. But you should have thrown it in there.
Well, then maybe they shouldn't have had that "you're joking" line in there.
Maybe they didn't realize it, which scares me.
That could be.
How could you not notice that? The film opens with this unbelievable sequence that you're like, this could have been the climax of any other action film. I'd seen clips of this and was disappointed because I thought, wow, now I know how this thing ends. It's right at the beginning. I was like, holy crap.
Is that the train?
With that? Yeah.
Really?
That's right at the beginning. So
that's like all the action is in the trailers. Yeah. It's a train.
Yeah.
That's the smart thing to do then.
Yeah. I was off balance from that point on. It was really well done.
That's rare for a film nowadays.
Yeah. So it's good. Definitely go see. Even if you're not a Bond fan, it's just a well-crafted film. And it's got enough of a plot that it's not just a dumb action flick. And it's, yes, it's got all those Bond things in it, but you don't have to be a Bond fan in order to be able to watch and enjoy it. So it's just all around well put together.
I'm excited about seeing it.
You should be. Of course, we all know that I have terrible taste in films, and you'll hate it. So
you do have terrible taste in film, but what were we talking about this week?
What else did you do? What did
it
you
was
do?
Meet the Robinsons.
Oh, it was Meet the Robinsons. That's what
yeah, what's up with that?
I was going to get to that.
You want to go, or you want him to go? So
because that was the first thing on my list was Meet the Robinsons.
Go ahead.
I watched Meet
Mine's
the Robinsons.
pretty simple. Mine will be quick this week. So.
I finally watched Meet the Robinsons,
and
which I'm pretty sure we discussed on the show, so I wanted to wait to talk about it. You cannot sell this on its time travel merits. The time travel merits fall on its face.
No.
Yes. Well, there is absolutely no way I believe that
Don't spoil it.
I'm spoiling it. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
If you haven't seen this, too bad. Spoiler alert.
What do you have a problem with?
2 generations, maybe 3, not 1.
Of what?
He should not be his kid. The young, spiky-haired kid should not be the other kid's father. Grandfather, great-grandfather, something. I cannot easily swallow that the world jumped this far because of this kid in 20 years. Impossible. No.
Keep defending. Keith's trying to make time travel legitimate in a Disney cartoon.
He's always saying, as a time travel fan, how have you not seen this? Because the time travel is rubbish.
No.
It's horrible. They didn't think about that at all.
You have no problem with a dinosaur wearing a bowler hat.
No, the bowler hat that was actually the highlight of the film, that this villain actually isn't as stupid and idiotic as he comes across. He's being used.
Or Frank Sinatra frogs.
No, because if it's 1,000 years in the future, like Futurama, I have no problem with that. I accepted all that, just like I accepted all of that in Futurama.
Oh my
it's
God.
1,000 years. Humanity has grown a lot.
Wow.
Humanity's not going to grow that much in 20 years. Maybe 30 if you're generous.
I disagree. Here's
here's
my
not
reasoning
because
for
of
that.
one kid.
Oh my gosh! Now Sean's going to try to defend.
I'm going to try and defend this. If you look at any specific 20-year span of humanity, nothing much going on. I will grant you that. But specifically, go back to the early part of this century. Go back to the 50s. Go back to look how much time. Look at the last 20 years. Technology based.
Technology-based, we've come a long way.
How much has technology changed society in a 20-year gap? If you look at a significant event like the automobile or the airplane or the microchip.
I'm sorry, I have a really hard time believing that in 30 years' time they're going to just inflate a building and it's going to be done.
But if this kid is as brilliant as everybody apparently made him out to be,
one
and
kid
he
can't change the world that much.
But if
I'm sorry.
Imagine, if you will, the inventor of the microchip, the automobile, and the airplane were all the same guy, and they all happened within a 5-year span of each other. How much would society have changed?
I don't know.
I'm willing to give that a go.
That I didn't like the design style. I didn't like the Jimmy Neutron Nickelodeon look to it. And that's not animation. That's
just the
design. I don't like the style.
the look.
I didn't like the style. That automatically put me in like a
Time travel. Went too quick to be that far advanced. But no problem with little video game guys living in a video game world in Wreck-It Ralph.
No,
that's okay. That's totally,
we all know that's
totally
true.
acceptable.
That's much.
And there are monsters in my closet, and my toys come to life at night too.
It's kind of continuation of the toys coming to life. I'm sorry, it's just Sean kept saying to me, as a time travel fan, how have you not seen this? As a time travel fan, how have you not seen this? This is why, as a time travel fan, you should not see this.
So, what you're saying is your enjoyability of the movie would have improved if Sean had higher your expectations.
Possibly, or if they hadn't have been, if it had been more generations out.
I can't believe
I think I still would not have liked that.
The science of time travel to a Disney cartoon.
It includes time travel. I'm sorry. That's negligible use of time travel.
It also includes bowler hats that make you
robotic bowler. If it's the year 3000, I accept that. You accept a walking, talking robot, a giant crab that it's anthropomorphized, and presidential heads in a jar. I can accept the robot bowler hat that will control people if it's far enough in the future.
Did Sarah watch this with you?
No.
This is the problem. See, this is one of those films you needed to watch together.
This is the one I watched it because she was like, I don't know. You watch it and tell me if I need to see it.
Which, of course, you immediately
So
replied,
she didn't
it sucks.
see. I didn't say it sucked. It doesn't suck. There's a lot of enjoyable moments to it, but there's just that was hilarious. And even the frog, because the dinosaur was the second attempt, the frog, which made the dinosaur even funnier.
Mobster frogs.
All of that stuff was great until I found out it's 30 years down the line, and I'm like, what? It just lost credibility. I also watched Super.
Oh, how was that?
It was okay. It's no Slither.
It's no.
It's the same director.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of funny moments to it.
That's
but
one with Rainn Wilson, right?
Yeah. It's just not as enjoyable, I thought. And then Sarah and I watched the Brown Coat Unite Firefly 10-year anniversary Science Channel special that aired last week.
Yeah. We missed it. Sean and I missed it. We'll have to catch up.
It's fantastic. I don't think I'd ever really heard Tim Minear talk about the show this much because he's on it. And he's on, like, there's a round table and there's clips from Comic-Con that we've seen some of and a bit more. And Joss isn't on the round table. Tim is. So it was kind of refreshing to hear Tim talk about the show so much. And even though the roundtable was recorded before Comic-Con this year, so it's the same people that were on the panel. They went and interviewed Jewel. They went and interviewed Zoe.
So it was still a collaborative.
Everybody. The only person that wasn't there was Ron, which is Shepard Book. For those that don't know the actor's name.
Ron Glass.
Yeah, right. Which I didn't have a problem with because on the Blu-ray for Firefly, he's a part of that roundtable that has Joss on it too. So they didn't really interview Joss either. It was just clips from Comic-Con, but it's really well done. Obviously, whoever's behind the Science Channel is a huge Firefly fan and is a total browncoat. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I had tears several times throughout just them, everyone sitting around talking about the show. It just brought tears. Just welled up that kind of emotion in you. Because you also, if you've seen any interviews with most of the cast about the cancellation and it's coming back, you know how much love everyone had for this show. And hearing everyone talk, which I don't think I've ever heard before, how much or as much about the cancellation and the way it impacted them individually and how they felt and what they were going through and where they were when they found out it was canceled. It's, oof. If you're a diehard browncoat, it is tough to watch.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that I want to see it.
It's fantastic.
I'll watch it. I'm not that diehard.
It's a wonderful celebration of the show.
See, this is one of those things that convinces me you have no soul. Because
it was a good show.
You enjoyed Firefly, but you didn't fall for Firefly.
No,
everybody else.
He's the only person I know that enjoyed it but didn't fall for it.
That's just it. Everybody I know that I have introduced it to, that Keith's introduced it to, anybody who's been introduced to the show has fallen for it, and you're the only one that hasn't.
Yeah, I liked it. I loved the show. It was good. It's not one of those ones that I can go back and watch over and over again. Or
oh no! See,
I mentioned to rewatch it now.
I'm ready to rewatch it.
Since I got it on Blu-ray for my birthday. I've been meaning to, anyways.
It was a good show, but
and they talk about some of the places they would have gone, which I hadn't heard.
Yeah, that's what I was excited about. Was hearing some of the what might have been,
and compared to the
and then get really depressed. So.
Compared to the Blu-ray roundtable, where most of future story ideas were jokes. This was all seriousness of where, and they even. Tim gave a secret that, they also interviewed Inara Morena. That Morena, when they interviewed her, wouldn't give up. She promised Joss she would take it to her grave of what they would have done with Inara.
See, that's just...
So then Tim he doesn't go into detail, he just says this is what would have happened. So... if you can find it, I hope they release it on DVD because it's so good. It's one of the best behind the scenes look at retrospective shows I've ever seen.
Cool.
Glenn, what'd you do?
Other than mourning the loss of Hostess this week,
which you were chiding everyone about.
I was chiding everyone.
Really? Because I have a whole box of Twinkies right here. I've been eating them like they've been going out of style.
I'll say it now. Somebody's going to pick up the Hostess brands. They're going to pick them up and probably they're going to pick the brands and recipes up cheap at auction. Twinkies will live on. Ho-Hos will live on. Ding Dongs will live on. Not in the means that we've known them from Hostess, but
Hostess brand. It will be something.
They will live on. They're too popular.
From what I've heard, Frito-Lay is very interested in most of the cakes.
There you go.
You'd almost think Little Debbie would be the forerunner to kind of corner that market.
They had the
Debbie's
alternates.
already got their alternates. They've got
I know,
twins,
but that's why. That's why. You'd think they'd just say, come to us, fat Americans.
Well, that's the other thing. I
we
pointed
want
that
your
out.
money.
My wife disagrees with me, but the twins and the Twinkies are very similar. I mean, people tell you it's a Red Vine Twizzler thing, that there's a distinct taste. I don't think so. They really taste the same, essentially. Same thing with the cupcakes, although she thinks there's a different chocolate on the ho-hos than the cupcakes from both sides.
I could maybe see that.
But overall, it all tastes the same. Come on, guys, it's not vastly different. So just if you're missing your Twinkies, go eat your twins.
And there are recipes online where you can make them yourself.
Those never work the same way. No, those never come out.
I've had a couple of clone recipes that have come close. It's like, this is as good as I'm going to be able to get for this particular item, which I can't get here in town or whatever.
Right.
But man, for the amount of work that you have to go through to clone something,
not
worth it. I'll remember it fondly and
right,
go, well, it used to be good.
What else did I do this week? Nothing
Except
really.
for the Orange Julius. That one was pretty spot on.
Nothing really during the week. Yesterday, we took the kid. Well, last night was Disney movie night, and so our theme was The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Boo!
So we took the kids. Sean's not a fan.
Paul
we
Haggis
took the
wrote
kids
it.
to.
No, he didn't.
Actually, Tim Burton wrote that one.
I don't want any listener to be confused.
No, Tim Burton wrote it. I appreciate it.
Which
I
is
just
a bigger
don't like
problem with it.
So we took the kids to the Gingerbread Homes for the Holidays, which is a fundraiser for our local, what would you call it, theater? Community theater. It's not even community theater. It's our
civic
theater.
No,
it's
it's
our
CPAC.
It's our Performing Arts Center.
Yeah.
Arts Center.
It's our arts center.
It's where touring places come through.
And actually, it's for their educational programs for kids. Anyway, what it is people build houses and they auction them off.
I didn't know they were doing this already.
Yeah, we almost always miss it every year because we forget it's before Thanksgiving. It's not between Christmas and Thanksgiving, but so
that's
anyway,
why I never do
and the kids got to make their own little gingerbread houses, and then we went home and we put up the lights because it was a nice weekend, and then we watched Nightmare Before Christmas.
Now you're waiting to turn on the lights until after Thanksgiving.
No,
right?
are you kidding me? They've been on since yesterday.
Even during the day?
Non-stop. I figured I turned on the radio and KMAJ started playing Christmas music last night. I figured the lights can go on.
And our local, one of our, which you tweeted a picture of Fairlawn Plaza, Santa was at this weekend.
Santa was at the Homes for the Holidays, too. He's a busy guy. He's got to get around early. Today, Mason was sick. So,
Which he was sick earlier this week, too.
He had strep at the beginning of the week. No, that was last week.
Was that last week?
Yeah, he had strep last week. And then he was just some stomach flu this week, or today, and he was feeling a lot better tonight. But so we just kind of really lazy Sunday. We didn't do anything. Caitlin and I went and got our hair cut and went and bought some shoes, but that was pretty much the extent of the weekend.
And apparently played Song Pop.
Yes, been playing Song Pop since last night. So since I discovered it last night.
It's a fun game.
Still haven't got your response, Sean.
I've been up to here in documentaries in French, so no, I haven't.
Sean will probably play Song Pop as often he plays a word in Words with Friends.
Hey.
Or as often as he posts a Doctor Who photo challenge.
We should talk about that.
Oh,
and the great response we've had so far. So
Up to date. We have had a great response from that, and it's been a lot of fun. And I'm thinking November is not the time to schedule one of these. That's the problem.
Well, we've been having so much fun with it that we're actually making a list for a later date. So we'll try and do this again after the first of the year. Maybe that'd be I was saying maybe we should do that around Galley, but that'd be kind of tough.
that'd be hard to do.
Although we could have some really great photos for 3 days.
3 whole days of awesome.
Favorite Galley photo 1, favorite Galley photo 2.
No, poor Keith would be back here going, I'm having to work hard, and you guys got it all right there in front of you.
I just take pictures of your pictures.
And then we'd be what Keith is doing now, which is, well, I couldn't choose just one, so here's an alternate.
Yeah.
Here's another one for you. Here's 12 more.
Hey, I'm not the only one that's done it.
No.
I've done a couple alternates.
I've only done one so far.
I loved your crinoid picture. That's been my favorite.
That's why I was delayed.
That's been your most creative.
Even better than the action figure Daleks with the...
Yeah. Because the crinoid, you completely went outside. I mean, with the Daleks, you used Dalek action figures.
Right.
I mean, I even did that on a more simple basis. But you did you went with two objects that weren't even Who related, and totally told the story, told that picture with the two objects. So I thought that was the most creative you've been.
I went running through the apartment, going, "Okay, I need a house." That was what that took. That was one of the ones that took so long because I knew I had the concept, I knew what I wanted to do, but I wasn't near any of the stuff for a couple of days. And then when I finally got home, it was like, "All right, I need a house." You would think, with as much junk as on my walls, as many action figures as I have, I would have had a house-like item somewhere. Nah. I finally found that was a lighthouse Christmas ornament. That's a Hallmark lighthouse.
There you go.
Oh. And then I wrapped the plant around it. So it was a lot of fun.
All right, well, should we move on to...
shoes for both of you for item that reminds you of who you went to the Vans?
Yeah, sadly, I had mine early, but then somebody took his before me, and I forgot to take mine before I left the house.
Then you had to get home and do it.
I had the right
shoes.
colors.
The shoes.
The only one that was missing was the white.
That's
I had
true.
The right colors.
You did have the right colors.
That's the thing. The shoes are the more everyday item than a bow tie or a fez.
Yeah.
That's true.
Those aren't everyday items unless you're Jerry Farley.
My other thought was a screwdriver.
Yeah.
But I thought, yeah, that's just... I
Or a
really
scarf.
thought everybody was doing
I'm
it.
surprised
Brittany
nobody
was the
did
only
it.
one that
Yeah.
did it. No,
Brittany did it.
She did.
She
She did a
Scarf
twofer
and
because she had a
yeah.
scarf that wasn't a Doctor Who scarf, but it was very
Just
similar.
a scarf, yeah.
And it was multicolored. And then she said, my first twofer. So...
No, it's a lot of fun. So if you're sitting at home right now thinking, what is this photo challenge and how can I be involved, go to our website and look up Photo Challenge, or we're doing it on Instagram, but you can certainly post on Twitter or Facebook or Flickr or Tumblr or whatever any of those other sites are, and just use the hashtag Doctor Who Photo Challenge, and we've posted the rules.
We posted the list.
They're more like guidelines. And feel free to jump in right now. Feel free to go back and post old photos if you'd like. I mean, we're just having a lot of fun with it, and great job, everybody. So,
All right, next is news.
News. First up, which has been shared on Facebook, that Doctor Who is up for the People's Choice Awards this year. Again. Last year it lost out to Supernatural.
boo.
I wasn't aware of it. I wouldn't have voted. I would have voted for Doctor Who.
That was the last season for Supernatural, though, wasn't it?
No, it's still on the air.
Is it still on? Seriously?
It's still on. The showrunner left after 2 seasons ago.
Wow.
But it's up against Once Upon a Time, Vampire Diaries, and The Walking Dead. So you can vote often until December 13th of December.
Well, come on, gang. This is we theoretically, I think, won the getting Doctor Who on TV Guide. They still have not announced that I'm aware of.
I think they're waiting until they release it.
Yeah.
The week before they release it. Okay, here it is.
But we're pretty sure that we got that one. So here's your opportunity. Let's get Doctor Who a People's Choice Award, because Vampire Diaries doesn't need it.
No.
Walking Dead
Is
That's got to be painful for you guys.
it's really painful.
I'm sure you guys like Walking Dead a lot.
I do enjoy Walking Dead. Although we've been spared a little bit because we haven't seen any third season yet. We've been purposely staying away from it, mainly because we've been watching other shows. But it's been really tough because of
It's
everybody
been tough
posting on
not
it.
watching it.
So
Yeah.
good it is this season.
Everybody says it's a lot better this season. So, but if we're putting Doctor Who up against season 2, I have no problem voting for Doctor Who. So
same thing with Once Upon a Time. I was not impressed by
that
that
show
show.
sucked. I think Paul Haggis wrote it. It didn't suck.
All right,
It
next.
was just
Alex Kingston recorded audio for the recent ebook Angel's Kiss. So BBC Audio Go is going to release an audio ebook.
Audio.
An audiobook, yes.
Or an audio version of the ebook.
Yes.
Because it's not, you can't buy a physical book. It's still just an ebook
Yeah.
so far.
But you can buy the CD.
Yeah, I saw that.
Available as a download in December with a CD release following in March.
Yeah. And I saw that that's UK. They keep saying in the UK. So I'm hoping that that's...
I'm sure we can get an
I'm
audio
hoping that's-
download here,
I'm hoping
at
that's
least.
global. So, yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Do CDs have regions?
No.
Only DVDs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sean, you got a little bit of news from Galley.
I do have a little bit of news from Galley, which I didn't have pulled up because I wasn't
Sean's our
prepared
Galley
to
guy.
talk about
Yes.
Galley, but
And he should have had it pulled up.
should have.
I can
Gallifrey
always count on
One.
Keith to have these things ready to go. Can't count on Sean.
Gallifrey One announced a very sad piece of news this week that
someone died and they left an obituary.
And the obituary was funny.
Chief's fault.
That would suck. Derek Jacobi. I'm mixing up with Paul Agus. I hate him. Derek Jacobi, who played the Master, well, actually he played Professor Yana and the Master in the new series of Who. Spoilers. Will not be attending Galley this year. Apparently he's doing some show with Ian McKellen. I was like, I'd go hang out at Galley. I'd go hang out with Magneto. Gandalf. It's like, all right, I guess I can't be mad at him. However, they did announce that they would have a whole slew of new guests listed, including a classic series Doctor.
And who is that, Sean?
Well, they haven't confirmed anything yet. They were supposed to announce that this week.
So what you're saying is you're passing on news that's not news.
There's no news here.
Other than
Derek Jacobi's not going to be there, which is unfortunate.
No.
If you didn't
that
see
was
the
news, but then he adds on the... well, they were supposed to do this, but...
And if you didn't see the Facebook post or the Twitter feed, it's not on their website yet that Jacoby's not going to be there.
Yeah, no, it's not on their website at all. It was just on their Facebook announcement.
And
Mel was devastated because she was really looking forward to Derek Jacobi. But
there was also a post that if you were wanting to go to Galley, there's a thread on Gallifrey Base where you can buy quote-unquote scalped tickets to Galley.
Yeah, if you're totally upset that Derek Jacobi's not going to be there and you're just like, well, the whole reason for my trip is gone now, you can feel free to go on there and sell your tickets. Now, they are very strict about make sure that they will not allow people to sell tickets for more than what they were purchased for. If they catch you doing that, you will not be allowed to purchase tickets ever again to Galley, which I'm in favor of. I think that's very cool. But they do have, people, there's obviously demand since the convention is sold out. What was that?
It was my ring.
Oh.
I accidentally brushed your computer.
I thought you opened a can of something. And I'm like, don't do it here. I'm not,
yeah.
Okay. But, so yeah, if you have tickets that are going to languish, you can feel free to sell them to somebody who will take them because there is a demand for that.
Moving on.
A
little bit of news in the Facebook realm. Facebook is actually, in the next few weeks, they're slowly doing away with news or with posts from liked pages, quote unquote, which are like fan pages that you like. They're doing away with those being posted automatically in your news feed. So if you like Traveling Vortex, our Facebook page, you'll eventually no longer see us show up in your Facebook feed, your news feed. Unless you do a certain little thing, which is on the page, if you'll go to where you ticked the like button, and it'll bring up a little drop-down menu, and make sure that you've ticked Get Notifications, and you will continue to get notifications from us. This is a Facebook, I don't want to say ploy, but it is. Essentially, what they're wanting to do is they're trying to generate more revenue. So what has been offered...
Because the billions and billions and billions of dollars they have now is simply not enough.
Quite frankly...
Well, now that they're public...
Maybe they're going to buy Hostess.
Quite frankly, that's just it. They're a public company, so they have to generate revenue more so than they do now. And really, Facebook is one of the few places where I'm going to defend Facebook. Facebook is one of those few places where you don't see a lot of ads.
No, you don't.
There's not a lot of ad base. So they're trying to generate content, and by doing that, what they're doing is the pages that are fan pages or because even companies have been able to make fan pages for free. And what they're doing is they're going to start, like, we have an offer now that we could pay Facebook, and our post would continue to show up in feeds of those people that have liked it, as long as we're paying revenue for it. But that's not something that we could afford to do. So what we're doing is we're hoping that everyone will do the get notifications, and then you'll continue to get notifications from our page.
Do you know how much the rates are on that? Any idea?
No.
I'm just curious how ridiculous it is.
It's more than what is in the budget.
It's more than what's in the budget. That's exactly the way I look at it. So,
well, make sure you click the liked button and then click Get Notifications on any page that you follow that is liked. But certainly on ours, if you haven't already liked our page, you should go do that.
Yeah.
One other brief note. I'm not throwing anything in. We did talk about this earlier. Of course, Big Finish had this big write-up about Dark Eyes, the new 8th Doctor Paul McGann adventure that's going to be released, where he fights the Daleks. And they do comment here, apparently Dark Eyes showcases the new costume for the Doctor, designed and made by the Weta Workshop. It says it includes the new Sonic with the wood handles. That's something that Paul...
We talked about this, didn't we?
We did talk about this pre-show, but I wanted to mention this.
No, we talked about this on the show.
We talked about this on the show, but I got this. I'm getting there.
All right,
okay.
There.
Paul McGann worked it out with a great Australian guy named William Geddes, who organizes conventions down under. He and Paul got to chatting about creating a new image for the 8th Doctor. Bill got Weta to make it for him. Paul loved it, came to us asking if we'd be prepared to use it. Since the 8th Doctor had had so many adventures with us, and it seemed odd that we'd keep the Wild Bill Hickok costume for so long, we thought it was time for a change. Our doctors show so much loyalty, continuing to work with us over the years. We're always happy to incorporate their ideas, and this was one we were very keen to embrace. We sent the images to the BBC. They approved them, so off we went. It's a brave new era with a great new look. So even though we had said previously that Big Finish has issued this and is using this promotional material now, and it's canonized from that regard, in my mind, BBC has now put the official stamp of approval on it.
I see
so
what you're saying.
the costume and the new Sonic are canon for that regard.
I had already known or presumed.
I had assumed that they went to BBC.
Everything
right.
has to go through BBC
right.
anyway.
Right.
Because they pay for a license through BBC. So once they said this is going to be the new Doctor's costume, I already knew at that point, just by that statement, that it's been approved by the BBC. So you're just kind of reiterating.
I just reiterating
sort of
because
solidifying.
Well, yeah, in my mind
Clarifying.
that solidifies it because it's not something that maybe I don't know. Big Finish could have done their own thing.
I think what you're saying is this gives hope for the 50th anniversary and a return of Paul.
I would never be that strongly voiced about it. But yeah, I hope it's a solidification that he's coming back.
All right, let's move on to feedback.
Feedback.
No, wait. We still have a bit of news.
We've still
we
got
do
some
have a
news,
bit
so
of
we
news.
can't go to
I
feedback.
jumped the gun because I wasn't on the notes page.
Children in Need
What'd they do?
was over the weekend. Or Friday.
Did they make some money?
I'm sure they did. I don't know how much. I didn't pay attention. But we got a prequel to...
Pay attention to how much money. Go ahead.
We got the Christmas special prequel.
You're so grumpy when
Title?
it comes to children. I mean, my God.
And
you've never no
trailer.
soul at all. Yes, say it again. I was interrupted. I'm sorry.
Prequel! Title! Trailer! Name of companion confirmation.
To an extent.
No, it's in the trailer.
It is, but
Yes.
not totally.
It's
It's not first name, middle, last name.
We got first name.
Yeah.
Which I brought not too long ago.
You did. And it's not Susan.
It's not Susan.
Okay, so
Wait. Wasn't that the horse?
that was the horse.
Susan was the
Susan was the
Susan
horse.
regenerated into a horse.
Well, why not? So
We got the prequel. Let's start
let's start with the prequel. Thoughts?
It was as any prequel, I thought. I mean, it was...
It was 4 minutes of wasting my time.
Glenn hated it.
Glenn hated it. It was written by Paul Haggis.
It would have been better if it would have been written.
No, it would not have.
It was enjoyable because it was new Who, but on the other side of that coin,
By the way, let me jump in here. More than £26 million was raised in this year's fundraiser for...
how much is that in U.S. dollars?
we'll double that. So 52, roughly,
$1
million.
That's good.
That is good. Any idea how that compares to previous years?
Anyway,
You wanted the numbers.
This piece of junk prequel. No, I didn't hate it. It was
Really, the weakest part of it is Strax.
well, which is sad because I expected that to be the strongest part because
He's
there.
I expected
and
Bastard
they
to
go
be-
for the joke, and the joke falls flat. So here's the thing: is we've got this we've got all this. 4 minutes does is serve the fact that the Doctor is mopey right now. That's all it is.
And I don't
because
like mopey Doctor.
You have Madame Vastra saying her little bid, then you have Ginny saying her little bid, and then we've already gone through that, and then you have Strax say, and he talks about the moon. And if the joke had been funny, it would have been
the
worth
most
it.
ridiculous.
And it was stupid. It was just like the joke wasn't even funny. And
they really better
the Doctor's
justify
mopey,
and
how
how
I expected the Doctor to be mopey. He just lost, his best friend. I mean, they're gone. The pawns are gone. So I expect him to be mopey. I didn't need 4 minutes of showing me that he needs antidepressants or something. It just, I don't know. It was so disappointing. And I think what it boils down to, and we talked about the other night, is they've set the bar so high with Time Crash that we've got nothing since then that's been that good.
Even raise that.
And then when they finally decide,
to be fair though, we got nothing before Time Crash that was that good.
Here's the problem: we finally get something that's not a first 5 minutes of the show or a out of character Doctor dressing in wardrobe, or you know what I mean. We've had all these little things that have not been original content for the show, and then suddenly when they do that, it's crap. And I'm sad to say that because it's Stephen Moffat that wrote this.
I'd say it's on par with, wasn't the scene in between Regeneration and Stumbling Out of the TARDIS for 8, 9 to 10? Wasn't that a Children in Need?
It was, yeah.
I'd say it was on par with that.
Oh, no.
I don't think that was any better than this.
Where he's talking about Barcelona.
That was much better because it was something we hadn't seen in the new series. It was a regeneration. We were seeing the effects of the regeneration, and it was funny. It was cleverly done, and then it led into the next season. This one was like,
well, we don't know how much this will lead in. We just got to show
how sad the Doctor is.
We don't know how much it will lead in either.
It is a prequel. It could kick things off.
It sucked. You know what what was good?
Didn't suck.
You know what was good? Was the trailer.
No, it didn't. I disagree. I agree with you that Strax was the weakest part, and it was probably the most disappointing because I don't like the fact that they've taken this fantastic, enigmatic character
who got a noble death in battle,
and then turned him into this weird one-joke Sontaran. He's very much stereotypical Sontaran at this point, complaining about the moon. It was funny. I still laughed at it, but I was disappointed in it as well. I think the bigger question is, how is he alive?
Yes,
he should be dead.
Address that completely.
Well, I certainly think they will, because that's something that Stephen Moffat has been saying, is that it's that this Doctor Who changes this year. This season of Doctor Who, or this Christmas special, will be different. He keeps saying different. He keeps emphasizing different. So, to me, different is alternate timeline or alternate universe.
I think you're reading too much into that.
No, I completely think that's what it's going to, especially from
I think it's
some of the
different.
stuff you read about the toy last week, which I think we did off air.
We did. I think it's going to be different because it's a new companion. That makes it different automatically. Look
what the best part of the prequel
look at the difference
was?
Between Martha
the setup
and
Jen Louise and Matt.
They have great chemistry.
Yeah, that was terrific.
And then the bit before the trailer too.
The bit at the end too, when he's like, "So the Doctor's retired, and will anybody be able to break him out of this?" Yes. Which that should give you hope that it's not going to be stretched out for a whole season. It's not going to be.
No, I don't think it will.
It's not going to be Mopey Doctor for episodes
and that's not what I'm
episodes
upset
and episodes.
about.
No,
it's just we
upset.
spent 4 minutes to tell me he's Mopey, and I already knew that. I would have rather have seen.
I'm trying to hold off.
I would have
judgment on the
rather seen
prequel
no
until I
Doctor.
see.
I would have rather seen no Doctor in this, and just seen something quick with Madame Vastra, Ginny, and is it Strax? Strax.
A man whose countenance was so horrible.
I think that would have been fantastic.
Which the
to have them
open
doing
was fantastic.
To have them investigating some mystery or doing some adventure on their own.
That whole open was fantastic, and it makes me want to see a spin-off. Maybe not Strax, but everyone else.
They've been still talking about doing it.
I think they should. I would imagine it would be so expensive to do. Having Victorian time and then your main character be a Silurian. That's costly.
I'm making this prediction.
With a human companion and a Sontaran butler.
I'm making a prediction.
They can get rid of Strax.
From here on out to the end of the series, to the end of the season, alternate timeline. You heard it here.
That's going to cheapen the entire 50th.
Or alternate timelines.
Yeah.
As long as it all...
As long as it makes sense.
As long as it makes sense. As long as it's pulled together better than, I don't know, Lost. Or anything Paul Haggis wrote. Or, what's that other...
Meet the Robinsons.
No. Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
As long as it's better than those. But I think it will be.
Like Roger.
This is what I don't get is you were not excited. Hey. No, you're right. I can't back that one up. You were not excited at all about the prequel, Glenn, but you were all kinds of jazzed over the trailer.
The trailer gave me some excitement. That's just it. I wanted something that sort of whet my appetite. I didn't feel like the prequel did that. The trailer did, though. Now, the trailer wasn't phenomenal in the sense that there was mind-blowing things and things I didn't expect, but it was all of the action and fun and the...
I really didn't expect
the chemistry.
Snowman.
You could see the chemistry between...
Weird title.
You could see the chemistry between our characters. You could see...
Yeah.
I mean, you could just feel it. It was just coming off the screen. And the snowmen were cool. I thought it was going to be stupid, especially when I saw that the title was called
lame.
The Snowmen.
The Snowmen.
The snowmen looked cool.
No.
So I was like, all right, this is cool. I'm ready for the Christmas
They look
special
like...
now.
You remember that Keaton movie?
Jack Frost.
Jack Frost? That's what they look like. Just as lame.
No, there's actually a...
Yes.
I don't think they look anything like Michael Keaton Jack Frost.
Well, they look like villainized versions of that.
Well, there is a Jack Frost movie starring a killer snowman.
Yeah.
It's
it
a
looks
horror
like
movie
that. And
I think they do look like. But once again, Moffat's taken something good and wholesome and pure and perverted it into something
I'm going to
horrific.
hold judgment until I see the actual episode. But the snowmen make me say, oh, really? I mean... We started with Christmas Carol. It went down a little bit, but it was still enjoyable. Dr. the Widow in the Wardrobe. And then now we're going with this.
Yeah, you're discounting all the RTD stuff. Think of the Christmas star and the pilot fish.
That should tell me that this...
The killer Christmas tree.
That would tell me that this is going to be really bad.
No.
Oh, come on. Look at the Christmas special otherwise.
The Angels.
The Angels. The Heavenly Host.
Heavenly Host, that's one.
While they were enjoyable Doctor Who episodes, they weren't Christmas specials. There was one that was, and that was Christmas Invasion.
That wasn't even really a Christmas special.
Well, that's the one that had the killer Christmas trees and the pilot fish and the Christmas star.
Yeah, exactly.
That was more
Christmas Star.
Or Christmas Star was Runaway Bride. You're right.
Yeah, that was more Christmas oriented than anything else.
No, not more so than anything.
The
next Doctor was
it was snowing then. Okay. That's Christmas.
What's the most Christmassy of all? I got to go Christmas Carol. That's the most Christmas.
I'm talking
RTD.
Yeah, but of the RTD era, Christmas Invasion was pretty Christmassy.
That was the most Christmas because if you look at
Voyage of the Damned,
was not.
Yeah, it was taking place on Christmas.
Just because it was Die Hard takes place on Christmas, that does not make it Christmas.
But my point is, how much more does Christmas Invasion, other than the fact that it's taking place on Christmas?
Attacking Santas, spinning Christmas trees.
But you had Heavenly Host.
I don't think of Heavenly Host when I think of Christmas.
Well, sure. Every one of those were images from Christmas that they were utilizing. My point is, there is no more in the Christmas Invasion than there was anything else other than the fact that they used some Christmas imagery and it happened at Christmas. That's it. It didn't have anything to do with Christmas like a Christmas Carol did.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Or even like the
Dr. Widow in
the Wardrobe, where he's utilizing Christmas in order to...
And that's been a Moffat and Smith almost staple.
I totally agree, but my point is, you can't say
he's the one that
Christmas Invasion felt that way because it didn't.
No,
it wasn't any more
I'm just
Christmassy
saying.
than the other
I'm just
ones.
saying, out of the Tennant and RTD Christmas specials, that was felt the most Christmassy out of the Tennant and RTD
because it had killer Christmas trees and Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Oh, because it had two items. I got you.
I don't think of Heavenly Host. I don't think of the
pilot
freaking star when I think of Christmas.
Were in Runaway Bride.
They were
as well. The Santa Claus is in there, so that felt a little more Christmassy. That's my point. It doesn't gel. Doesn't work.
Regardless,
none of them were Christmassy.
Nothing is going to be as good as Christmas Carol. I think that they've reached their peak.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm saying. That's the high point of Christmas specials for Doctor Who.
I would agree.
And it would
agree with
it would be hard to top that.
I
and I don't think they will.
I would agree with that. I mean, that's the bar.
Yeah.
I'll admit that I watched the trailer and got real excited. And then
I got excited because it was New Who, not because it was a Christmas special.
And then I watched it a second time, and all I could think of was Courage the Cowardly Dog, where they had the Sean Connery-esque voice going, "I'm the snowman." That's all I heard through the rest of that trailer from that point on.
I think my biggest complaint about the entire story is because it's going to be the snowmen.
But they look creepy.
They do look creepy.
No,
They
I
look
don't think
really-
they do.
no, I think they look
I
creepy.
laugh at them. When they popped up on screen, I
I
chuckled.
laugh at you, Chris.
I chuckled
Laugh at
because
you, snowman.
because
Don't laugh
they
at
look they look like a Siffy monster.
I'm the snowman.
I'm the snowman. Okay, I tell you what. While you're laughing at the snowman and they begin to gnaw on your bones with their sharp ice teeth, Glenn and I will be running away because we're scared of the snowman. You'll fight them
I'll
all
knock
first.
their hat off.
They weren't wearing it.
Well, it's the same principle.
No.
Oh, when they open their eyes with their spiky teeth and go, "Happy birthday," then okay, I might laugh at them. But
It's Doctor Who does Frosty. I'm not super excited. Other than it's just Who returning.
Well, you know what next year's is going to be? Killer Reindeer.
Killer Rudolph.
Killer Rudolph.
I'd almost
snowmen aren't
appreciate
even
that
really
more.
Christmas.
No, they're just winter.
They're just
Pretty much
wintry.
just winter, yeah. All right. Anything else you guys got to say about the prequels or the trailer?
I was excited for them.
Keith and I are on completely different planes here. He didn't like the trailer, and I liked the trailer. He liked the prequel, and I didn't like the prequel.
I don't know if I like the prequel either.
Oh, what?
I liked the Money Pit.
That's 2 weeks in a row he's made that reference, and I haven't got it yet.
I'm assuming he's referencing the movie, the Tom Hanks movie.
It's a Family Guy joke.
Oh,
But yes, the
Family
reference.
Guy joke.
Family Guy.
so he's referencing it.
when they're
Reference.
talking
they're
about
talking about
the,
things, he goes, the Godfather,
Godfather.
insists upon itself. What does that even mean?
Yeah. I like the Money Pit. That's
I
right.
liked the Money Pit.
I'm excited for New Who. It's just the bar's so high that it's hard to get excited for any Christmas special. I was the same
thing
last
last year. Yeah, but I mean, I thought it was a valiant effort, and I thought it was really good.
Yeah,
So
this just
I think
looks.
this will be just as good.
I think this will
be equally as good as the Doctor, the Witch, and the
Widow.
the Widow in the Wardrobe.
I think this is going to be good, not on its Christmas merit, but on the new
I
companion
don't look at
introduction.
any of them on their Christmas merit. I think it's a happy accident that
I'm
Christmas
sorry.
Carol was.
I'm sorry. What's the first
a
Doctor
Christmassy
Who
story.
episode you introduced me to?
It was not only
Christmas Carol.
It was not only his first Christmas special.
It was my
his
first
So
anything.
series.
Yeah, no, it was his first anything.
Oh, that's true. It was his first anything. So you just expected. That's the problem. Is we keep calling them Christmas specials.
They
Well,
are
they've been
Christmas
calling them
specials.
Christmas specials since 2006. They're not Christmas specials. They're only Christmas specials in the sense that
They air
on Christmas, right? I mean,
The same thing as one of
the
the
idea
parts
behind
of
the Christmas
End of
specials
Time was a Thanksgiving special.
The idea
Right.
behind the Christmas specials
No,
was
it's Christmas
it
and New Year's.
Was it?
Yeah, End of Time was
Yeah.
Christmas and New Year's.
I thought there was one Thanksgiving special.
No. Oh well, Waters and Mars aired
Was that
Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving?
weekend.
Okay.
I thought that was the Halloween special.
I think it aired the week before Thanksgiving. I have to say that it was in November.
Was
it was
it?
definitely in November. Yeah, but what it boils down to, we've talked
Planet
about
of the
this
Dead was
before,
an Easter
is
special.
in the UK the Christmas night after everybody had opened presents and had meals and everything. The networks, I think the BBC even, would show their big epic movie of the year, and it was always disaster films. And that was the idea that RTD went with the Christmas special, was you sat down and you watched disaster films on Christmas night. And so the stories always had these big epic disaster movie feel, and that's why they went that road.
You know what I was most
But
excited about?
Moffat
though?
was the one
but
that
then
kind of
Moffat-
injected Christmas into him.
And then so now, because new showrunner, new Doctor, going in a different direction, that's my expectations.
Yeah.
It's not unrealistic.
Also, this is the first one that's in the middle of a season.
That's
It's
true.
supposed to feel like
A
it's part of the
continuation
season.
of something
Yeah.
as opposed
Yeah.
to a standalone.
And that's why I'm excited about this story, is continuation of the season, the new companion introduction, all of these things, not because it's a Christmas special.
You know what I was most excited about?
What's that?
Shocker Doctor.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Richard E. Grant
Richard E.
making a
Grant.
return to Doctor Who.
Again. Because he also played the Doctor in
Scream of the Shock.
and
Curse of Fatal Death.
Yes.
Couldn't get it out of my mouth. It was like right there.
so he
Tip of
played
my
the
tongue.
Doctor twice.
That was my who I wanted to play the next Doctor, and I made that comment that okay, technically he's already played him twice, but let's do it for real this time. All right, moving on to feedback.
Feedback. Our first bit of feedback comes from Chrissy. Chrissy writes,
You got to read that title.
Raid! Dear Vortex boys, hello, I'm back. That daylight savings thing's really threw me. It stinks having to go back an entire day. Sean, you're welcome to come try it sometime. Smiley face. The Christmas special Minnesota and trailer. What? You gave a look.
I did give a look.
You and your looks.
The Christmas special Minnesota and trailer. I enjoyed the Minnesota quite a bit.
That was my recall look.
Oh, okay. You're remembering.
Yeah,
Is that what we really call them?
Wasn't even
Minnesotas?
It was.
Yes,
because Matt called them Minnesotas. Oh, you're saying from the line. Yes.
Which way? We talked about this pre-show too. The chemistry was fantastic.
We just talked about it 5 minutes ago.
5 minutes ago too.
Minnesotas are cool. That's what you're supposed to reply to that with.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love seeing Madame Vastra and Jenny, but I don't understand why the Centauran has to be there. Even if he hadn't already been killed back in A Good Man Goes to War, there's really no point in bringing him back. Of course, I would love to be proven wrong, but that will have to wait until Christmas for that. The whole thing looks pretty good, except it's called The Snowman. Really? The Snowman? Could they have come up with a more bland name for it? Again, I will wait until I actually see the episode to totally pass judgment on it, but it's a good thing the trailer and the Minnesota got my attention because the title doesn't. I might just call it the Christmas special because that sounds much more fun than the Snowman.
Especially coming from Moffat, who made the big to-do last season about slutty titles. Mm-hmm. That he was looking for big, epic movie feel titles.
That's
and
true.
The Snowman. I'm not getting it off of that. It's certainly no Let's Kill Hitler.
I think he needs to add of death.
Because that makes everything better.
That makes everything better.
The ambassadors.
Of death. Robots of death. Snowmen of death. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd buy that.
And my computer went to hibernation
Well,
because
here we got all
so
kinds of
long.
errors here because I was turning the volume down with my earphones, and I just launched the Abbey Road CD. So hang on, I got to figure out how to shut it off.
You just launched what?
I just Come Together started playing in my ear, and I'm thinking, which one of you guys started Come Together? Is this part of the joke or something? And I realized it must have been because I was using the in-line volume on my earbuds, and I think I must have hit the center one, which starts the first song. I thought I did it again. Starts the first song in iTunes, and so I'm like, what's going on here? All right, sorry, listener. If I forget to edit that out, there's another musical interlude there for you, Chrissy.
And what serendipity that it happened during your feedback?
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for my computer to reboot.
What did? Oh, power.
Power.
Oh,
By the way,
fail.
That's why I got up and left already.
Fail.
By the way, I'm calling it now. Claire's last name is Oswin, or Oswald, and Oswin is her middle name. My point is that they are the same person. I just haven't figured out how yet. Regardless, I recently rewatched some Second Doctor stories, and I got thinking that it would be cool for the Doctor to have a companion from Earth's history again. Actually, what I thought was it would be cool to have a companion from the past and a companion from the future. But who knows when we'll get another two-companion Team TARDIS. Anyway, Clara, Oswin, JLC, whatever, from Victorian times, I'm good with it. Are you ready?
Agree. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
I agree. Because we'd initially thought that, if this ends up being the same, we initially thought that she was going to be present day. Because that's what they told us. So the idea that it's somebody from the past...
Who told us she was present?
Moffat.
There was
Yeah.
a quote from Moffat about
It's going to be
something
a present day companion.
I don't know. She was he never specifically said present day. He said something to the effect of computer analyst or something. He gave her a very mundane job title, And so we all leapt to the conclusion of present day.
Definitely not a nanny, which it
Definitely not
seems
a
she
nanny.
has. It seems she is in the trailer, at least to me.
Could be a futuristic computer analyst.
I'm
I
not
guess,
convinced
but-
that this is the new companion either in this one.
Well, you've got some other whacked
Well,
out
we've
theory.
had, but we had Jenna Louise Coleman already. Surprised that she wasn't the companion in the first one.
Oh,
That she doesn't necessarily have to be the companion in the Christmas special.
What if she shows
it
up-
might not be until we come back that she actually becomes the companion.
What
at
if
that
she
point.
shows up in every episode and is not the companion?
as a different character in every episode.
What if she's the same character in every episode?
Alternate timelines.
Ooh.
Calling it
I
here.
don't know if I like this.
I think Chrissy just lends to my theory. Claire's last name is Osmond.
Well, you know,
Every one of her characters will either be an Oswald or an Osmond.
we still have that crack to deal with.
When I got really bad news for you, Sean.
I don't
I'm
think
not
we're going
going
to
back
go
to the
back
crack.
to the crack.
Calling it now.
I think we would have
go
dealt with
ahead.
that with Amy.
Calling it now. Crack plays into it.
Go ahead.
We thought the
Crack
duck pond
kills.
was going to play into it, and it hasn't
I'm
yet.
still convinced that will as well. No loose threads. That's my theory.
Yeah.
Everything was
Because
important.
luck
Doctor
with
Who has
that.
never done that before, or
good
any
luck
show
with
ever.
that.
I am convinced everything was important. And we will get to the 50th anniversary special, or possibly even beyond, and we will get that episode where all of it ties in, and all of these clues were laying right there to be picked up, but nobody had the fortitude to put them together until Moffat
Except
shows
for
us.
Sean.
No, I don't even know what they all are. I just believe that they're there.
So there's going to be a all along the Watchtower moment.
Yes.
All right.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Maybe not with that song, but
I think that would be awesome.
I loved that song and that part, though. That was
terrific.
terrific.
I don't know. It should be Queen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Don't Stop Me Now.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bicycle Race.
Fat Bottom Girl.
Killer Queen.
Crazy little thing called love.
London Calling by The Clash.
All right, keep going.
Reviews. The web
No.
play.
Chrissy goes on to say reviews.
Reviews.
We haven't skipped to reviews yet.
Good point. The Web Planets. Just play the horn and get it over with. I feel bad that the Romans was immediately followed up by such a stinker, but that's the BBC's scheduling faux pas, not mine. I guess the turkeys all have to go somewhere, though I guess it's fitting we do have a turkey the week of Thanksgiving. Points to the keeper of the Vortex schedule for that bit of serendipity.
Oh, quit pointing fingers at yourself. That was all serendipity. That had nothing to do with you.
Even if it wasn't planned, take credit and love it.
Thank you.
The Fearmonger. The first part was good, but I lost interest in parts 2 and 3. Part 4 was good when the Doctor was possessed by the Fearmonger. I thought they could have had some more fun with that. I don't really have much to say on this except politics, really? Sorry, but I'm not fond of stories that take all political issues and beat you over the head with them. Maybe other people like being preached at, but I don't. Yep, that's all. Hope you all have a good Thanksgiving holiday. Same goes for all my fellow American Vortex listeners. Those in other countries, have a great Thursday. I hope I'll be able to put together a little something for your 100th epiversary, if I don't have a turkey hangover on Friday, that is. Or a shopping one. I have some things planned, and all I can tell you so far is spoilers, sweetie. Peace out, Chrissy.
Thank you, Chrissy. And she brings up a valid point. This will go out, so happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
And to everyone else, happy Thursday.
And we look forward to hearing her epiversary feedback if she gets it done, if she's
Yeah.
not in too much of a epinephrine. Not epinephrine.
Different
Tryptophan.
different effect.
Completely different effects. Tryptophan coma.
Well, they should put tryptophan in a pen that you can stab yourself with. It's like, I'm entirely too manic at work today. Poof, and out. I need a nap. And you go down with it. Turkey pins.
You know,
That's a horrible name.
tryptophan doesn't actually affect you that way.
I think
That's what believe.
Mythbusters is tackling that.
Yeah,
because
you'll find out.
Because Alton Brown guest stars on it.
Yeah, and actually, where I saw that tryptophan doesn't affect you that way? On Good Eats. It's when he did his turkey episode.
That's right.
And he said that it's actually, it's not the tryptophan in it. It's actually basically a food coma. People eat so much.
Eat too much, yeah.
Of food that they become very lethargic and
I get tired
sleepy.
after eating a turkey sandwich. And nothing else. I
It's
don't,
not the
even,
tryptophan.
I don't even have a bag of chips.
You're highly suggestive.
Yes.
You're
I think that's psychosomatic. I think it's what that is.
You're highly
Suggestible.
yes. I could suggest things to you.
Moving on.
Maybe I've
I
got,
hate to put a damper on the whole tryptophan.
maybe I've got one of those Rathacon things in my head.
Oh, yeah, one of them slugs that goes in your ear.
Memory problems. That was the other part of that.
I think that was the stroke.
Seti eel. It could be a Seti eel. Growing.
Who's next, Keith?
As it wraps
Brittany.
itself around
Brittany.
the cerebral cortex. Oh, I'm reading Brittany's? Question answer. Your name. Twitter handle. Blah, blah, blah. Comment question. Why is that backwards? I get it. Hello, boys. I want to start this piece of feedback with a story of my childhood. Glenn, you said you would threaten to dress up as Santa Claus for Halloween. Well, when I was 4 years old, my grandma dressed me up as a little Santa Claus on Halloween. Apparently, when we were going around the neighborhood, we walked by a family with a 2-year-old who looked at me and started to cry. According to her mom, she was terrified of Santa. So you can dress as Santa and still be scary if the right kid comes by. Next up, I was planning on defending Thanksgiving, as it's one of my favorite holidays, but I can agree with the whole over-commercialize and what we should be thankful every day. I guess for me, Thanksgiving is more like a family reunion. There's usually 20 or 30 of us that try to show up, and instead of a one-day event, it's more like a 4-day event.
Let me say something here, because
You can't defend yourself.
No, absolutely. No, here, I do want to apologize to some people that might have been offended by this, because there are a lot of people that utilize Thanksgiving as a time to gather with family that they don't see necessarily all year round. Where I'm coming from on this is that is shortly followed by Christmas, which my family has always done the same. I've worked in TV for 17 years now. And when you work in television, you typically work the Thanksgiving holiday. And a lot of times
You typically work every holiday.
I a lot of times make sure I work that one so that I'm able to get Christmas off. Which
And sometimes it doesn't
sometimes
work.
it doesn't work out that way. But and sometimes in years past, Thanksgiving has fallen in sweeps. So we have to work anyway.
That
Can't have a day off.
Then they started switching it so sweeps
Right,
ended
they were.
before.
Right, they moved it. Well, when I started it actually was shifted ahead of Thanksgiving, and then at some point it shifted into Thanksgiving, and then they shifted it back as of recently. But anyway, so I have never really just had any sort of connection with Thanksgiving for the last 17 years because I've always worked on Thanksgiving. My family's here in town, and we always spend, at least dinner with each other. We never have these big gatherings that everybody does. So to me, Thanksgiving is just another day. So I'm maybe a little soured on Thanksgiving, and that's why I think it's I think it is definitely over commercialized. And B, I do think that you should be thankful every day.
It's not as over
However, I do
as Christmas.
Well, no, I would agree with that, and I love Christmas. But I do think that there are people that hold it, are endeared to it because of the fact that they do get to see family that they don't necessarily see, and it is a big gathering, of people and socializing and sitting and watching football. Anyway, so
I think that's
where
why
I come from
I
on
am
that
often
one.
also more of a bah humbug about Christmas. Is in the past 10 years, I've had 2 Christmases off.
And you're unfortunately working this Christmas as well.
Again.
Well, we used to do that when we used to get together and we'd have our Halo night. We'd get together every Thursday, every week, and we'd play Halo. And inevitably, it was one of those people would kind of go, oh, well, it's Thanksgiving, so they'd kind of assume there was no Halo. And then we'd start seeing text messages and phone calls start happening about 9 o'clock. Anybody doing anything tonight?
Yeah.
By that point, everything's over.
No,
anyways.
not really. You want to get together and play? Yeah, that's fine. So we
Sean, that's why I always showed up at your house anyway, because
we always
I
wound
don't
up
care if you called Halo off or not. I'm coming.
I never called it off, but we always wound up having Thanksgiving Halo, and it was kind of like, why don't we even bother? Because you guys are all done by that time anyway.
Yeah,
So
that's exactly right. Yeah, that's what happens. People say, well, it won't be there because it's Thanksgiving this week. It won't be there. or they just assume there's no Halo.
Yeah.
But yeah, you never ever officially called it off.
I never called it
My
off.
family always did
I showed up.
Thanksgiving lunch. It was never dinner.
We always did lunch too. In fact, part of that is because for the last at least 13 years I worked night side, so I go in at 2:00, so we have to have lunch.
All right.
Continue.
I am so used to working Thanksgiving that I can't remember the last time I actually had Thanksgiving food.
Oh, really?
Well, especially since I go in at 12:30.
Yeah,
that's too early for lunch.
True. That's true.
I'll bring you a plate.
I'll bring you.
They typically cater or somebody brings in Thanksgiving food, but it's always like
I don't know. There hasn't been any mention
care.
of doing it this year, so
well, last year
I'll bring you something because we're having Thanksgiving at my parents' house at 12:30.
I'll bring you a taco.
They'll have it spread.
Thank you. I'd appreciate that. Last year, Robert's mom brought in stuff.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Actually, I would prefer to have tacos Thanksgiving and turkey. But you know me. I'm not a big fan of that food.
Thanksgiving food. I've never been.
Yeah.
Well, you know what our Christmas food is?
Man. Yeah.
You know what our Christmas food is? Brenner.
Oh.
No matter what.
What's Brenner?
Breakfast for dinner.
Breakfast for dinner.
No matter when
that's cool.
No matter
That's
when
cool.
we do it, it's always pancakes
That's cool.
or waffles.
I think we should actually leave Thursday for dinner together. Like, actually leave.
Oh, and
we'll
go
go
get
eat Chinese food or something. I'm serious.
That's a great idea.
We'll have our own Thanksgiving. It's anti-Thanksgiving.
That was the year we were introduced to Chinese turkey. All right. Enough holiday talk, she continues. Time for Doctor Who. First up is the first Doctor story, The Web Planet. Can I talk about the holidays again? Yeah. This is not one of my favorite First Doctor stories. The story was pretty boring, in my opinion, and judging from the tweets and the picture from Friday Night Who, I am not the only one who felt that way. I wonder what picture she's talking about.
I don't know.
Oh, was there a picture?
It might have been
Must
a
have
picture.
been a picture.
I think it was the
Circulating.
same picture that woke me up.
Which Glenn was not very happy
I would have slept a lot longer, I have a feeling, had I not noticed the flash.
And aren't you glad that
He tried
And
one without
Sean
the
walking
flash.
away with a coy smile on his face.
He tried without the flash. It just didn't come out very good.
No, you were very dark and very sleepy.
Was I a loud snore?
No.
No,
Oh, okay, good. Because I do snore. And I was,
no, we didn't.
When I woke up, I was afraid that I had been snoring so loud you
I don't
couldn't
think
hear it.
I don't think you
But
snored
I
at
don't
all.
know,
It was
might
just
have
when
been
I looked over and you were
saving
like
grace.
this.
I heard a little bit, but that was just because I was next to you.
Yeah, that's true.
You didn't poke him with a stick at that
I
point,
thought about it.
dude. We
But I thought-
we totally should have got the shaving cream out.
It doesn't work on me. A lot of people have tried it.
We've never tried it.
Okay. Give it a shot.
All right.
I told you about what happened when I was sleepover one time. They tried that. They put it in my hand. I had my hand out, and they tried it. And they were tickling my nose. And I generally was asleep. But I woke up to them tickling my nose, and I know there's not a freaking bug on my face. I'm not stupid. So what I did is, as they tickled my nose, then I went and popped it into his face. I'm a little more aware when I wake up. That's why I noticed the flash, because unless I'm like in super deep
So you know what
sleep,
this tells me? Next time we need to put shaving cream in his hand and an actual bug on his face.
that might work.
So Keith got a face full of shaving cream, and I got this awesome pic of Glenn freaking out about this tarantula. It was so cool. You just come over for Web Planet again, and we'll set you up.
Well, if anything, would have made you think bugs.
Oh, yeah.
Good
The
call.
Web Planet would do
I
it.
fell asleep dreaming of bugs. No, I didn't.
I really didn't like, she continues, I really didn't like the camera effect they did. It made me feel like I needed to clean my glasses. Also, I try not to be too hard on the costumes and sets of early Doctor Who, but those insect costumes were not good at all. Even with all of the negativity I have with this story, it was still fun enjoying Friday Night Who, and as I've said before, it's been more fun watching some of these stories with friends. Next up is the 7th Doctor's Big Finish audio story, The Fearmonger. Hey, look, I said it right. First off, I'd like to say I could have done without all of the politics and that talk radio show. Although I did enjoy how the Doctor pretty much takes over the show. It is so Doctor. I did enjoy the Fearmonger in the story, especially with the twist of it possessing the person who can hear it, although I did guess it kind of early. The last bit I have to say about this is that the story happens to be the second Big Finish story I listened to when I first started to buy the audios, so when I got to the cliffhanger of Ace being shot, I was really worried for her. And it didn't help that it wasn't quickly resolved in the next episode. I know at some point she will have to leave the Doctor, but I really hope it's not because of death, as she is one of my favorite companions. Finally, a quick review of the prequel and trailer for the Christmas special. The prequel was the greatest, I thought.
Yay.
Just a bunch of talk.
I mean, boo.
Prequel was the...
She said prequel. I was thinking. I
think she
I was
meant-
looking at the trailer. I was looking at trailer when you read prequel.
Specifically, I think what she meant was the prequel wasn't the greatest.
Brittany, you're going to have to write back in and clarify.
Yay.
I thought just a bunch of talking and the Doctor being grumpy, which is to be expected anyway, and the Doctor being retired. Yeah, that's going to last long. As for the trailer, much more interesting.
Yay.
That made me really excited for next month. And once again, Stephen Moffat trying to make normal things a bit more
She felt
creepy
the same way I did.
with the snowman. The snowman!
Thus, you're wrong, Keith.
I'm sorry, the snowmen aren't creepy.
That's it for now. Can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say about this story.
So far.
Until next time, Brittany. P.S. I don't know if you've seen
Easier
it.
than the Absorbaloft.
Could be.
Or Merca.
I found this
Or
neat...
Scribble.
I meant new series.
Oh.
It
Could be cheesier than Scribble.
Could be cheesier than Scribble. Probably won't, but could be. I found this neat fan-made Doctor Who video on YouTube. I thought it's quite fun to watch. Might be a good video to show someone who has yet to see the show, and we will include that in our show notes. Glenn's going to be all over that. Right, Glenn?
Got it.
All right. Thank you much, Brittany.
As always.
As always. One of these days, I think I'm going to start saying thanks for nothing. As always.
As never.
As never. That's what we should do. As never. All right, so coming up next is Holly.
Holly.
Mack. Not Glenn's Holly, but Holly from Wisconsin, who writes.
We got it. Hey, guys. This was a decent story. Well, she starts... It's titled The Web Planet, excuse me. Hey, guys. This was a decent story. At first, I didn't know what to make of the flare effects during some parts in the story until it was revealed that it was coming from the planet. Was that the ring of Rassilon that the Doctor was using on the Zarbi?
Zarbi.
It's Zarbi? Oh, I thought we were calling it Zabri. Oh, Z-A-B-R-I.
It is Zabri.
Okay.
You're right.
I thought it was Zorabi.
Okay, it could have been.
Let me look it
Either
up.
way, I think the R and the B are misplaced here, but with the necklace. Or was this a precursor to the sonic screwdriver minus the sound? Vicky and the Doctor make quite a team. The end scene was the
Zarbi. Z-A-R-B-I.
It is Zarbi.
Oh, okay. Zarbi.
Okay.
The Zarbi with the necklace. Okay.
Tell her you stand corrected.
Yeah,
Glenn.
I stand corrected, Glenn.
I thought they pronounced it differently.
Vicky and the Doctor make quite a team. The end scene with the Menoptera?
Menoptera.
Is that how you say it? Being a little leery at first with the Doctor, taking the isotope to the Zarbi. I'm not going to get that right this whole night now. The isotope to the Zarbi stronghold was good.
It's the Mugato.
I was holding my breath and waiting to see if the Menoptera... I can't get that one out either now.
Okay. Ants and bees.
The ants and bees.
Just go.
That was moths, wasn't it? Would double-cross the Doctor and use the ring for some other purpose.
Right.
Vicky, Ian, and Barbara were great in this episode. No damsel in distress moments. I noticed
Yes.
that.
Yeah,
That was
true.
probably one of the shining moments of this. Loved how Ian still was giving the Doctor a hard time about him damaging his tie from the beginning of the story. The look on the Doctor's face makes me wonder if he didn't hate the tie, and this was a way to get rid of it. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the episode, plus happy Thanksgiving and holidays to everyone. Holly from Wisconsin. Thank you, Holly.
Thanks, Holly.
And
As
thanks,
never.
And thanks, everyone, for your feedback.
As never. Said the snowman.
And we hope to get a lot of feedback for next week, or else it's going to be a short show.
We'll change it in about
Well,
something.
I'm sure we will.
And there was much rejoicing.
All right, reviews.
Is that you?
Yes.
Okay.
What was what me? Yes.
The sound. The Web Planet.
That.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that was me.
I was making sure I didn't accidentally click something again and was going to start
Come
a Beatles
together
song.
Right now.
Boom, boom, boom.
Over me.
Dum, 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 dum.
The Web Planets. A mysterious.
Oh, sorry, I jumped the gun.
Wait till I finish the synopses. A mysterious
At the
force.
very least.
A mysterious. A mysterious.
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'll point to you when it's time.
Okay, that'll work.
A
I like
mysterious.
visual cues.
A mysterious force pulls the TARDIS off course, stranding the Doctor,
Kind of rhymed.
Ian, Barbara, and Vicky on the alien world of Vortex. A fierce battle is raging between the moth-like Menoptera and the giant insects known as Zarbi. What is the dark secret that hides at the center of the Zarbi's lair?
Dun dun dun! What was that? I didn't do that. Oh, you wanted this one.
Wow.
We really didn't hate it that much.
There's a lot.
Okay, so
So we got moss and giant ants.
I'm going to go first because I don't think I have nearly as much hatred for this as well, most of the rest of Hood'em at this point. Certainly anybody we subjected it to. I liked the planet effects. I thought that was cool. I liked the look of the planet. I thought for being a soundstage and having the starscape and a flat moon in the background. I mean, it was especially for 1960, whatever this was.
I agree until later episodes where the effect gets worse and stronger.
It seems like it definitely got stronger because at first it was just lens flare. It was just some sort of weird.
It was just slightly
thing. As it went
then it got
on, all of the
more.
exterior stuff, it literally looked like they had smeared Vaseline on the lens of the
Well, I think
camera.
that's
And
what
there
they've
were
done.
chunks of it
But
that
I
were
think-
definitely out of focus.
I think what happens, though, is they literally shoot these linearly. They don't, back in the day, they didn't shoot these in pieces and out
Right.
of order like they do, especially nowadays. And I think what probably happened is, I'm just suspecting, I don't know, I'm presuming, but I think what happened probably was a continual application of, that's what they did back in the days. They put Vaseline on there to get that star effect, that kind of streaky effect. And I'm sure whatever they were applying, the petroleum jelly or whatever they were applying to the front of that camera probably was caking up. Even if you're wiping it off,
Just got to the
it's
point
still
where it
just
started
getting
to
the point
build up
where
a
it
little
started to
bit.
build up a bit, and what's making it worse. Now, I agree with Sean. I'm gonna stop you right there because I've got to say it. When they walked out and they had this otherworldly look, I was fine with that. I thought, oh wow, for 1965, 4. This was great. This was a fantastic idea of how, no, 65, for a fantastic way in 1965 to give me a feel that I'm on a different planet, something different. And I agree that having the star field in the background, having the planet
The
look good,
stage was
even on a
fantastic.
soundstage, looked
Yeah.
fantastic. And then giving that tinny audio sound and the little streak of light that just really made you feel like you were looking through a different atmosphere.
And you get a couple of little things in the story as well when the Doctor puts on the coat with the weird futuristic
Breathing apparatus, yeah.
basically that's a respirator, but it's built into the coat, which is it's a genius science fiction
And I love
concept.
that the hat was the same color. The one that we've always seen black was.
He's
was
got a
white.
match.
That's what-
Yeah.
But so there was a lot of that to like. It's easy to pick on the costumes because we have what are
Really?
essentially giant moths.
For 1965, I was impressed by the costumes.
I was too.
The giant ants and the moss. I thought it was very
More so the
crea-
moths, I think.
I
more
agree.
so the
the
moths.
moths I was most impressed with. The ants I just kind of accepted because it was 1965 Doctor Who.
But then they also had the
larvae.
the larvae gun.
Well, and the caterpillars
The
of
caterpillar
the moss.
things that my issue with those was
Not
is
so
they
much.
well, here's the thing, they spent such a long time building these giant ants costumes that were this virtually look like ants. I mean, they did. It was a great job with what they did. The moth, the costuming was fantastic. I don't know if it was just me, but the caterpillar things looked like felt costumes with felt art, like something that my grandmother would have made me for Halloween.
It looked like a children's television
It did.
show.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I
moth
thought,
animal.
And I thought, just the inconsistency in the costuming there was an issue for me, and it was down to that. Again, the ants, I thought could have been done better, but I was fine with them.
Yeah.
The moths,
After
I
a
thought
while,
they did
I was able to
the moths,
overlook the
I felt
human
like
legs.
they worked on the most because they were our
The heroes.
Yeah. And caterpillars, they almost felt thrown in there anyway because they really had very little purpose as well. But
This did not need to be a 6-story episode.
I agree with that. I think there were a lot of good things in this script. I think there were a lot of cool things that went on. That we've got this alien invader that has come to this planet and kind of turned the one, I forget her name, but the one Moth character says it, that the ants used to be cattle, basically, that they are, the oxen of they do all the heavy labor and whatnot, and that this alien force has turned the cattle against them, which kind of brings up an interesting parallel in current times if that were to happen. But just, so what happened? You got kicked off your planet by cows. Okay. I mean...
Well, and then the gold stuff, how it comes back into play... I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, and there's a lot of little things. There were a lot of little things like that they did in this one that I kind of felt like had been almost revisited from Keys of Marinus, but I thought they were done better in this one. Quite honestly,
I can see that. Yeah,
that there were like the acid pool and some of those other things that went on. Once again, with Team TARDIS, we find ourselves in the middle of this, political maneuvering, basically. Only this time, it's not necessarily internal; it's due to this exterior force. And we're caught between these
Which
two.
I thought the exterior force wasn't as well as realized or explained as it could have been.
It was a really ugly lampshade.
Yeah, it
mean,
really was.
It was a big lampshade with tentacles. That was it.
Which, lots of props were trying to think outside the box, but...
But then to go laughably into what is its power? A really bright light, and all of the moths go...
Yeah.
It's kind of like, really?
I almost would have rather that the cattle became intelligent. Do more of a Planet of the Apes type thing. Where the ants gain intelligence and get smarter, and that's why, as opposed to this outside force. I think would have been a much more interesting and compelling story. Yeah.
Obviously, you completely rewrite the ending at that point, because now you can't go back to status quo. You can't kick the monster off the planet or destroy it or do whatever they did to it. And then have everybody happily working together to bring the water back to the surface. Which there were things that I agree with you about the 6-parter, though, because it seemed like we had, we had 5 different invasions of the planet. We had the spearhead, but what wasn't the spearhead was, we had the scouting force initially, then we had the spearhead, but that
wasn't really the spearhead.
I've always kind of been, now I don't know a whole lot about military terminology, but I've always thought spearhead was the vanguard of the whole shebang, but that, it's the tip of the spear, but spearhead. But then everything else is still there. That they just happen to be the guys that got there first. But this kind of felt like it was a slightly larger advanced scouting party, and that the rest of the fleet was still in orbit somewhere.
Spearhead is always the first volley, and it usually is the mightiest, so that it does the most amount of damage before basically the rest come in and clean up. That was the idea of this, but you're right. It was almost like it wasn't strong enough.
Yeah.
I wasn't strong enough.
Well, they kept talking about, the spearhead failed and we lost all our guys. Well, it's a good thing we've still got the main fleet up there. And it's like, tactical planning failed, guys. You bring everybody. You don't send. You already did that. That failed. That's why you bring everybody now. I don't know. That seemed weird to me. But it did give them the opportunity to roam around underground with the larva and
I think the larva was a lot of what could have been cut and down to 4. And I think if this were going into this, I knew it was 6, and then I let you guys in on that it was 6.
Surprise!
And so a lot of it just. They feel longer than 25 minute episodes through most of it.
Yeah, I sort of thought the same
thing. And
if
it were 4, I don't know if it would feel that way.
That's really the bad part of this story is the fact that it's too long and drawn out.
Yeah.
It's really what suffers the most from.
Yeah.
Because you get past the costumes, you get past the mediocre attempt of a story, which I thought was okay. It was fine. I didn't hate the story. I didn't hate the idea, other than the points that you guys pointed out, where it just was kind of random, then comes back on itself in the end. It just was.
I was impressed by the coming back on itself. Actually, I didn't expect it to.
No, I would agree with that as well. It was just really. I liked the pairing of the Doctor and Vicky. That was fun, but it just. Nothing happens for a good chunk of the middle of this thing, and that's the problem with it.
Which and the bit with Vicky and Barbara in the beginning with the bracelet was great.
It was a
Also.
gift from Nero.
Yeah.
You didn't go to Rome. Yes, I did. I don't believe you. And I've never had an aspirin before.
Yeah, that whole thing.
That was a lot of fun.
Learning about comparing our current time to Vicky's future time was interesting and great character development.
Here's a fundamental problem in my mind: is you have a machine as brilliant as the TARDIS, and it has the ability to travel through space and time. It has a fast return switch if you need to jump back to the last place you were in a hurry. All these nifty gadgets and a lab and bedrooms. Why do the doors open automatically on their own at a whim for anything?
Well, and that's the thing. It started off, we have no power. The switch won't work. Which I thought, that's brilliant. How many times have I seen the door switch on the console and never thought, what if they didn't have power? And then
Well, you should have thought of that at least once earlier.
Well, maybe I probably did once earlier, yes. But I was reminded of it this time.
Okay, there you go.
Actually, because that was fairly recent.
And then his whole doing
Death
the
to the
ring
dogs.
to open it, the hidden exits, I thought was great. But then after that, it opens for everyone else just fine.
Yeah.
I know Vicky somehow...
For no reason.
I know Vicky somehow kind of restores power to it, to the TARDIS in some way.
Did she? I must.
Yeah, she did. That must have been when he fell asleep.
No, it was quite a ways in that I fell asleep.
Nah, he fell asleep.
It was quite a ways in that they revealed that
Did
that's
they?
what
Well, maybe
happened.
I did fall asleep.
That's why it was
Maybe
dragging
I would-
along.
But
Also.
I slept for probably a good.
I figured the
10
ants had
minutes,
picked it
maybe?
up and carried it. That wasn't the TARDIS getting power, or that was
Well, something was something was dragging it. It wasn't the ants. But because of the dragging and because of the switches and stuff Vicky did, it gave it power back. And
I
that's
do remember that.
and that's
I do remember
that's
that.
why it shows up and they go in and get the stuff out of it, the star map and all
Right.
of that
I
stuff. It
remember
has
messing
power
with it,
again
yeah.
because
Okay.
of whatever Vicky accidentally hit on the console.
I do
Oh, he
remember her
did
messing with it.
comment, "You're a genius,"
But don't know it.
but she didn't know why.
Yeah.
All I could think of was Jurassic Park, when they're standing there in the headquarters watching the monitors and the flashing red light, going, "I told you how many times we need locks on the vehicle doors," and I'm like, "What? You're sending people out in a dinosaur-filled environment? You don't have locks on the stupid doors?" That's kind of how I felt about the TARDIS at this point. Is why is there not a child safety latch on the inside of that door? Ants. Well, we don't want them to get in. We'll put the latch on. I don't know. It seems weird to me. But Sexy has a mind of her own, so she'll do as she wants. I liked the... I did like the carryover that we got, with specifically dealing with Nero and Rome, and that there was so much of that was still kind of brought into this one. And I did like the idea of this intelligence that had the kind of the cone of silence that the Doctor had to keep dealing with to communicate with it, and the exchanges they had. I thought all of that was actually really good. It just, the story really falls down at trying to sustain itself over 6 parts.
Yeah.
I think that's what, and it doesn't help that we did, obviously we watched Friday Night Who, we start at midnight. I think
Right.
that really casts a pall on this one.
And really, this story, it's almost like we have too many companions, so we need to find enough stuff for everyone to do. Where if it was just one companion, it could have been an easily contained 4-episode story.
Yeah, because then you've got, Barbara's off meeting the moth people, and Vicky's with the Doctor. Well, first Vicky's with the TARDIS, and
Yes.
the Doctor's off doing something else with Ian, and then they get split up. So now everybody's kind of got their own little story arc going on. The Doctor's doing one thing, and Vicky's doing another thing, and Barbara's doing another thing, and Ian's doing another thing. And then we finally bring the Doctor and Vicky back together, but Barbara and Ian have been split up. And so, because he's got to come to her rescue now. That's kind of the one damsel in distress, even though she wasn't. That's kind of the one damsel in distress moment that we get is, well, he's got to go save, Barbara. And I love the fact that, the crater of needles or whatever it was. And, it's basically the prison, and everybody's there. And, okay, let's go. He just
No
took a prison
plan.
Camp.
Yeah, he's like Rory. He's the blueprint for Rory. What do we do?
Oh,
Where do
yeah,
we go?
he totally is.
Let's go. I love that. Of course, and Chrissy brought up a very interesting thing on this, is that she commented on Twitter that it's easy to forget sometimes that these weren't necessarily meant to be digested all in one chunk. And maybe that's where we do the story a disservice by trying to go, we're going to watch The Web Planet tonight, where you're only supposed to watch at most 2 episodes of it at a time.
That's what it boils down to, is because in 1965, they were writing these things and they were planning them out with an outline. And what they were saying is, we want to devote this much time to this story. And so they sit down and they say, okay, this is how we'll write it so that it gets from here to here in this much time. That's what we neglect to remember when we talk about these. Is we sit down and watch these 6 or 7 part stories, and we're like, oh my gosh, this was too long. This could have been cut. This could have been cut. This could have been cut. But from the perspective of where they were taking it, it was a week to week series.
Oh,
and people were coming back each week, and they were building a suspenseful, building a story to a suspense, and then leaving it on a cliffhanger. And then the people would come back the next week. They'd build it to another suspense, and then leave it on a cliffhanger. And that was the point of it back then. I think they recognized later that, especially when they get into more of the 4-part stories beyond Pertwee's era, or towards the end of Pertwee's era, they realized that maybe there wasn't a necessity to run these storylines on for so long. But it took them a long time to figure that out. Because look at the Patrick Troughton era. Look at the beginning of the Pertwee era as well. We had a lot of those ones that were dragged out for 7 or 8 or 6 or 7 stories. So
one of these months, I'm gonna watch one of the classics I own in a weekly format. See how different it is compared to all at once.
That'd be kind of fun. Do it that way, to. I mean, as a kid, I remember when KTWU was running them, and it was something I was watching after school before I really globbed onto it and understood what it was. They would run them nightly, but they would only run a half hour at a time.
Yeah,
so in a way, it was kind of nice because it was on all the time, but at the same time, it was just when things got interesting, it was over. Now there's this cliffhanger. So I think that's something that, I mean, we complain a lot. We tend to complain a lot about the 6-parters or longers.
And quite frankly, until we started doing Friday Night Who, I rarely, before this, sat down and watched Doctor Who in full episode chunks or full story chunks. I would sit down and watch 1 or 2 episodes a day. Now, granted, I've got kids and got a lot going on at home, so I kind of take my time when I can find it. But that's what I do.
That's
and
difficult
I have been
to
doing
devote
for
2.5 hours to it.
That's what I've been doing for years since I've been rewatching Doctor Who. Is I'm still watching it in half-hour to 2-hour chunks at a time, and so it's a lot for me to come over here, or not over here, but come over to your house on a Friday night at midnight, and then realize it's a 6 episode or 6 episode story arc, and think, wow, I never would have sat down, and if I'd have seen Web Planet and said, okay, this is one I want to watch, I would have sat down and went, okay, 6 stories, so I'll start here and watch maybe an hour here, and then tomorrow I'll pick up and watch another hour. So I've always had that luxury of doing them that way. So this is a little different.
Well, and that's the
it kind of makes me feel sometimes
DVDs.
we're doing the disservice of. In fact, I was so grateful that we did the ambassadors the way we did, because even though we did 4 one week and 3 the next, it still was just a nice, for what we usually do, a nice consistent. When we watch a 4-part story, I never think those are too long.
Well, then let's put it to a vote. Let's give our listeners the option. If you are one of those people that joins in with us on Friday Night Who, should we start splitting up the 6-parters? Anything over 6, I definitely think, and we've learned that the hard way in some cases, and obviously that'll require a little more homework on my part to figure out that this was a 6-parter, because I just assumed it was 4. But if it, 7 or 8 parts, that's kind of a no-brainer, like we did with War Games too. Breaking that into 2 5s was kind of perfect.
Right. 10 would have been. Whew.
Yeah, I couldn't. I can't fathom doing that. But if it's a 6-parter, maybe we should break it up and do 3 and 3. So send us your feedback on that and let us know. I mean, I don't know. Somebody could put a poll up or something. We used to be able to do that, didn't we?
We do Facebook polls.
We do a Facebook poll. And let us know what you think. So if everybody says we should devote more of this and break it up over 2 weeks, I'm fine with doing that. We can change our structure. Why not?
Mm-hmm. And then we can focus only on the next episode.
Yeah. Maybe make for shorter episodes.
Maybe.
Right, let's move on to Big Finish.
The Fearmonger. One would-be assassin is in a mental ward. Another is on the run. Their intended victim is stirring up the mobs. Terrorists are planning a strike of their own. A talk show host is loving every minute of it. A Whitehall insider whispers about a mysterious UN operative with a hidden agenda. while everyone's got someone they want to be afraid of, it'll only take a little push of the situation to erupt, and something is obviously doing the pushing. But can you trust the doctor? But you can trust the doctor to put things right, can't you?
Dun dun dun. Not a massive one, but a little one.
I found this one enjoyable.
I did too.
I think especially McCoy's portrayal of the Doctor in this is really enjoyable. And it wasn't, sometimes, especially in audio, I think McCoy's portrayal goes a little over the top. Like the last one he was in, Zagreus, with Winky. He was a little over the top for me.
That's the character, though. I don't think you can blame it.
It's a different character, but they wrote it knowing it was going to be him, and kind of played to his strengths more and more. And even some of the other stuff we've listened to for Seventh Doctor, a bit more over the top. This I thought was very well tempered, very much a gateway from what you've seen on TV to audio. He was fantastic. I thought Ace was absolutely enjoyable. Her distrust of the Doctor, I thought was great, all because of this thing is now in her head.
And that hurt, didn't it? Wasn't that just bothersome to listen to see these two people that have normally been so tight all of a sudden be put at odds with each other?
Yeah. Well, and as was it Chrissy or Holly or Brittany? One of our three feedbackers. The gunshot. And
that was Brittany.
Yeah, as Brittany pointed out, my initial thought was, oh, she's going to be okay. She has more TV adventures. But then I remembered, oh, wait a minute. This is probably set after Survival. And so 2 of these cliffhangers were fantastic.
Yeah.
The bomb almost going
off. Great cliffhanger. Ace shot. Great cliffhanger.
And then the fact that
Ace hears something. What?
And we don't even hear it.
What?
And it's not until we get the recap that we actually get the sound effect on it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Do do do.
Yeah.
And of the infancy of Big Finish, I think this is the strongest so far. Of the first 5, I think this is stronger than anything that's come before. And it's finding its legs and going the direction it needs to go to. I personally liked the talk radio stuff. I thought all of that was really enjoyable. Anybody else think he sounded, or he obviously had a North accent?
It sounded like 9, didn't he?
He did. Yeah. That's who I thought of the entire time.
That's what I thought the same thing. Brittany pointed this out this week, and we've done this in weeks past, where I think Keith's, I'll call you out here, but Keith's a little more quick to jump at this. Is we always say, well, this should have been cut, this should have been cut, this should have been cut. You didn't this week, but Brittany carried that this week.
I did for
could have done
Web
without
Planet.
this. Could have done without this. Well, yes, I won't get down on that one because maybe some of those things could have been trimmed. But I think a lot of times I'm really hesitant to say this part needed to be cut, or this element needed to be cut, or this element needed to be cut, because unless it feels like it's just shoved in there for no point at all, then I can't say it should have been cut. Because when you start dissecting a story that way and pulling these parts out, you start to lose the overall entity of the story. And so if you take the radio host out of this, I mean, he's an integral part of this, especially
absolutely.
later down the road. And so I the things that a lot of times we say need to be cut, I never feel that that's the case. Now, reworked or changed a bit, yes, absolutely. And maybe trimmed down, but never cut. Because when an author sits down to write these stories, most of the time they have a point for all of the elements in the story, and there's a reason. And when you start stripping away those pieces, it doesn't work. I agree. I thought the host in this one I liked it. I thought it was an integral part, and he ends up being an important part later.
Yeah.
And I like how he's almost bookends this story, because you've got kind of him at the beginning, you've got kind of him a little bit in the middle, and then you've got him at the end. And it's kind of that whole full circle thing that I like about his storyline and what's going on there, and how he's being used the whole time. He's being used by the Doctor, and I love that. Yeah. I love the fact that the Doctor's using him for communication, the Doctor's using him for the trap in the middle, and then the Doctor's using him at the end, again, for communication, but for a different purpose at this point. So,
to me,
I don't think you could have cut that part at all.
Yeah, I would agree. Integral part. And almost gave off a Glenn Beck vibe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
And I was surprised, actually, that I'm trying to find the character's name.
Walter?
No, the other. The
Paul?
The woman.
Sherilyn
Harper actually went on the show. Mm-hmm. I was kind of surprised by that. I didn't think they would even go there. Granted, we didn't get much of that, and it sounds like he played ball with her, whatever he wanted to do, whatever she wanted.
Right. I think that's what he threw softballs at her, for one thing. Here's the other thing: is the politics of this. I didn't feel that this got mired down in the politics, because
I was fascinated by the politics.
You're quite misdirected by the politics of this as well, because you really think that the is it Sherilyn? Is that what
Sherilyn Harper.
Sherilyn Harper. You really kind of think that she's a different type of candidate than she ultimately ends up being, because the focus so much is, well, it's what she's saying and we don't want to hear it, and it's it. But really, all of that bile comes from Walter, because he has been possessed by this thing.
Yeah.
And you do have the opposition that is using quote unquote terrorist means, because they really are. And that's one of the things I always come down on, is when groups go from being activists to terrorists. I mean, nothing turns anybody off more than terrorism. And so when you start using means that, kind of skirt past the activism line and become a terrorism, but even the quote unquote activists weren't nearly as bad as we were kind of having been made out, because when it came down to it, They wouldn't have killed. They wouldn't. I mean, it was just. There was a whole misdirection, because you felt like there was a greater evil here, and that that's what was driving everything, and it never really was. It was always just in Walter and then transferred to Ace.
Yeah.
But they really do a good job of misdirecting you in this story as to who is really the bad guy.
That's one of the most enjoyable things about this story, is you go so much thinking, yeah, Sherilyn's bad. She's got this thing in her. It's taking over things, and then you think it jumps to the radio announcer, and then all of that misdirection, and then the UN, and then it just turns out that her publicist set these guys up to do this under these agreements. It's just like, wow.
Well, and at one point you think the publicist is a bad guy, and in fact, I thought that the fearmonger was actually in him.
So did I at one point,
and not in her. And then, so.
Anybody get a V for Vendetta?
A little bit.
Off of some of the politics stuff.
A little bit of a vibe, yeah.
Kind of where I
and the fact that it's slightly future.
Yeah.
I think that helps lend to it. The slightly future Britain. That lends a lot. Because that's the same thing with V.
I know I champion this maybe a
V
little bit.
Is also an alternate timeline, because it's set in a universe where Germany won World War II. It starts
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it starts. It says it at the beginning. This is a world where Britain lost in World War II.
The movie or the graphic novel?
The movie. It says that at the very beginning.
I
didn't catch that.
I didn't catch
that until this time as well. But it says it up at the start.
Huh.
Now, it doesn't lend into the fact that the Nazis took over Britain, but they set it up that way, as that this is a Britain that lost the World War II.
They joined the Nazi party and lost to the Allies. That sort of thing?
I didn't get the impression that they joined, just that maybe their political ideals and structure were shaped based on the loss.
I'm just trying to understand how they would have lost.
Yeah.
That's the problem of unless they just weren't part of the Allies and got invaded, or like Poland or something.
Well, that was the impression I got. Was that they were eventually taken over and set up a different form of government.
The Blitzkrieg bombing finally wore them down, and
Okay.
Right.
they do have a chancellor,
That's true.
and his flags are very Nazi-ish.
Well,
Which is interesting because you'd think if they'd been taken over, they would have completely booted that idea out.
That's what I had a struggle with when I saw that. Watching on this most recent time, I saw that and I thought, well, it's not like everything was kind of Nazified, but maybe that changed the political direction of things, so that it was sort of. It still kept maybe kind of that ultra socialist Third Reich feel, but wasn't necessarily the Third Reich. That
yeah.
I know I championed this early to you guys, and I had to really think about it because comments made off mic earlier this week, both of you seemed initially kind of be like, meh, it was okay, but it wasn't great.
It was meh.
and I had to think really,
but wasn't horrible.
Why was it that I really enjoyed this one? And I realized that
than others.
I think a lot of it has to do with the time. Or the order in which this one is, the placement of which this one is set, because we had Sirens of Time first, which I think we all enjoyed, and then number 2 was Phantasmagoria, which we all pretty well panned. Number 3 was
Whispers of Terror.
Whispers of Terror, which was okay. Number 4 was Land of the Dead, which we all very much panned. And so it had kind of been this, and then I got this one, and I really got, oh, okay, I like this one. So even though maybe it wasn't as strong as it could have been, I think maybe I latched onto it a little harder than maybe I should have.
A glimmer of hope.
Because it was a glimmer of hope for the big finish line. It was like, oh, this is a good one.
See, I think this is the one where it really gets its leg, because the next one, Marion Conspiracy, I remember liking a lot.
Yeah, which is, of course, it's the introduction of Marion, of Evelyn.
Yeah.
Marion, Evelyn. So
it's just, I think it took those 4 stories to kind of find where it needs to go.
Yeah,
it does, and it's because it spends so much time making you think one thing as opposed to another.
I think it's just better storytelling in general.
Of course, that doesn't explain.
Well, that doesn't explain the 8th Doctor story
Or Winter for the Adept. I know you're going to go with
Malabosia.
Yeah, that one. Oh God, what is the name of that one?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
God,
Malabosia.
Minuet in Hell.
Minuet in Hell. Thank you. I knew you were going there. But fun stuff. I enjoyed this one. Like I said, I didn't think it was, and I think a lot of it with the politics and the radio show and a lot of things that they did in this, I think, lend themselves well to an audio adventure versus some of the things that Big Finish has done and some other ones that it's like, why are you trying to?
Mm-hmm. Why are you trying to make this an action adventure?
Yeah, why are you trying to pull this one off? Whereas you can't translate that; it just doesn't work.
I think also part of it, when we do these individual Big Finish stories, I think we all come in more favor than we do the multiples. It tends to go downhill for the multiples. When we do multiple audio adventures, we tend to be very favorable of the first one, and then the second one, not so much, third one, even less. I think listening to them as one-shots lends to them even more.
That might be because I think maybe when you've done a full week or 2 weeks of listening to 3 audio plays, I think maybe your mind is sort of exhausted by the time you get to that third one, and so that might change your perspective of the story a little bit.
And you're used to a certain type and a certain way to it, and then they change that up on you each time, and it's like, but it's not the same. I think that has a big deal to do with it.
I think it
could be.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing that we've changed how we do our Big Finish
That's
feedbacks,
true.
Audios. Anything else on that one?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
What do you got coming up on next week on the schedule, Sean?
Well, can I sing my song?
Sing your song.
99 episodes of Traveling the Vortex in the can. 99 episodes is here. So go download it now and come back and leave us feedback, because next week is the big 100th episode of Traveling the Vortex on the feeds. I didn't have time to rhyme it. Can you believe 99 episodes?
No.
Next week it'll be 100.
Seems very surreal that we're getting ready to do 100 episodes.
Very
next
surreal.
Week, so.
Well, next week is our 100th episode.
I've been at it for almost 2 years.
Yeah. That's almost scarier. Every Sunday.
Every Sunday for 2 years.
Mostly.
You've only missed one, and Keith's only missed one. So.
Yeah.
And now I'll miss one. So.
What? Well, there's been several Sundays we didn't record. We recorded other days.
Well, we recorded on Monday or something. But yeah.
Weeks, I should say, yeah.
Yeah.
But, no, you haven't missed a show.
He hasn't missed a
entirely.
show.
Yeah, we just would record later when you were gone.
Yeah.
It was you.
My God,
mine was
I've
the
been
first
present
one.
for all
You
of
have
these?
been present.
I was the
for all
first
of
one
them.
to miss
Well,
an actual episode.
That's when we started doing the book reviews, was because of that, yeah.
Right. I was thinking that Sean had missed a show, but you're right. It was one of those weeks that we
We
recorded
just
later.
recorded late.
My
I think we recorded
God.
on Tuesday because he got back so late.
Yeah, it was a galley, wasn't it?
I think it was Galley. I think it was Galley. Well, this week we've got, in addition to Thanksgiving, which is coming up on Thursday, we've got Chicago TARDIS. We, unfortunately, will not be there, but if any of our listeners...
There's still 4 days.
There's still hope. Just dangle that carrot.
Hey, Wednesday's a Powerball lottery. If I hit it, we're leaving Thursday morning.
I'll take you up on it. I'll even give up my Thanksgiving. I'll eat airline food in order to go to Galley.
I don't imagine we would get on a flight with food, but I'll take you somewhere for Thanksgiving meal if I hit the Powerball. And take you to.
I'll take you up on that.
You think they have a Fazoli's in Chicago?
I'm sure they have a Fazoli's in Chicago. Probably a few.
That would be the best Thanksgiving ever.
Because you realize if I hit the Powerball, I'm quitting the next day. You'll have to call in sick.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Wait, that means there'll be an opening at the station, right? I can
That's
apply
right.
for it. And
Yeah.
There you go.
If anybody's going to Chicago TARDIS that has not hit the Powerball and has already bought their ticket and is actually planning to be there, please, 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 please include us in your notes and thoughts and pictures and whatever you're doing. We'd love to have it for the website and for our Facebook page, and just kind of to share that experience with all of us that didn't get to go. For Friday Night Who, this week we're going to be doing David Tennant and Freema Agyeman.
Agyeman, I think it is.
Agyeman. Is it soft G? Agyeman. In Smith & Jones, Martha's first story. And then, because we've already reviewed that story for our show next week, it's the big feedback special. So hopefully people will send us feedback. And
if not, we're going to tangent a lot.
If not, we'll just dig back through your old feedback. Start reading stuff we've already answered before.
I'm still planning on reading the phone book. So there's your challenge.
Sean will filibuster next week.
Either you send us feedback or I read the phone book. But no, we've got all kinds
Great.
of...
Now there's everybody out there going, challenge accepted.
We'd love to hear from everybody and kind of treat it as a celebration. Obviously, we would not be here for 100 episodes if it wasn't for you guys listening to us.
It's a
and downloading
celebration
us
of the listener.
Yeah,
more
exactly.
than us. That's why we want to
That was very well put.
focus on you.
Yeah. And if Glenn wins the Powerball, he's taking us all out to lunch. So make sure you're in on that. And then I'm so excited because the following week we get to do Invisible Enemy, which is one of my all-time favorite episodes, and I know Glenn poo-poos all over it because he doesn't like it. It's brilliant. Brilliant, I say. And there's K9 in it.
And it is John Leeson doing the voice of K9, but I will spoil a little something for you. It's not the K9 you know. Just keep that in mind.
Well, it's a different K9.
Just keep it in mind.
It's Mark 1.
Just keep it in mind.
So there's that.
I found the retcon for the non-John Leeson voice.
He did. I mean, come on. Who else could have come up with the laryngitis? And that's why he sounded fun.
There you go.
So.
All right. Is that it?
There's that.
All right. That's going to do it for this week then. Until next week, I'm Glenn.
I'm Sean.
I'm Keith.
Cheers.
Good night, everyone.
Be seeing you.
You have been listening to Traveling the Vortex. Doctor Who and all of its associated programs are owned and trademarked by the BBC. No infringement is intended or implied.